ability to vote for just outcomes within our own respective structures. It is our responsibility to be commonly decent. From all of us at the University of Utah, our very best wishes to Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris this evening, and my deepest appreciation to all who helped plan and prepare for tonight, from our campus, the Utah Debate Commission, and the Commission on Presidential Debates. Thank you all, and again, warmest welcome to the University of Utah.
Mike, this crank is so okay. Yeah, how's that? I don't know how that is for a setting. I'm going to try to refresh this and see if this will work this time. It may not. And it still doesn't want to connect to my chat. You piece of junk. I'll have to watch on the YouTube channel. I was hoping to have this over here for you guys, but it does not seem to want to communicate. I don't understand why. See if he'll do it now. Still won't do it. It won't let me run the chat for some reason. So I'm gonna have to I'll just delete it, remove it for right now. I don't know why it won't let me play it, so sorry guys. I know I like showing the chat on the stream, but for some reason it will not let me show the chat. I'm gonna have to contact the people on the software and go, okay, what is your fudging problem? Because I should be able to run that chat viewer. As I can, but I can't. Do it on my other one all the time. There it goes. Oh boy. This ought to be interesting. Connecting to YouTube. Oh.
Please welcome the first print journalist to be the solo moderator of one of the general election debates, Washington Bureau Chief of USA Today, Susan Page.
Sorry guys, I'm actually trying to run through and get it to re-update my credentials for
hey,
it.
welcome.
I don't know why it's being a jerk about it, honestly.
And congratulations, you have scored the most exclusive tickets in the United States. Hamilton has nothing on the Commission on Presidential Debates when it comes to exclusive tickets. I want to offer a special welcome to Vice President Pence's family, I think is there, and to Senator Kamala Harris's family on this side, and most especially to my bosses who are seated right up there, and I'm very glad that they came and joined us. My bosses from USA Today and from Gannett. We're glad that you're here, but this debate is not about you, and it's not about me. It's about the millions of Americans who are going to be watching it. And that's why I'm going to ask you for your help. I'm going to ask you for your silence. I'm going to ask you during the debate not to cheer or to boo or to hiss or to laugh, because that is distracting for the people we are really staging this debate to reach. There will be 2 times when you can applaud. That will be when I announce the 2 candidates on the stage. They'll come on the stage simultaneously. That'll be a time to applaud. And then applaud again at the very end of the debate. But if you could restrain your enthusiasm.
I don't know why it won't
between
work.
those
It
2
says
times,
it should,
I'd
and
appreciate
it just will not.
And if you could send me a little good karma, that would also be
right back to
appreciated,
the same
but
thing.
quietly. I'm going now to sit down and get settled and turn my back to you, but not in a rude way. And I'll see you on the other side. Thanks again for being here.
Return to the app. It didn't work. All right, I guess I'm not going to be able to do it because it is not allowing it to work. It keeps saying access is granted, but fudge. It keeps saying access granted, but it won't go. I don't understand what it's doing. Here we go. Now it says it should go. It still doesn't. I'm sorry. This is the one. This is the screen I can cuss on. So anybody here, I'm sorry. I'm not looking quite at the other chat. I'm still trying to get it fixed. It keeps saying I'm authorized, and it won't play the effing mother effing chat. So wait till I get done with this stream, because I am going to really scream at them. It doesn't make any sense. It says it's okay. Junk. I've refreshed 1,000 times. It says you're activated. I know you guys are chatting. Already checked. Says I'm authorized. I'm going to try it one more time to authorize it. And then after that, I call them later and go, hey, you guys suck. And says I am. What is that? Yeah, it says I'm authenticated, but it won't run. So yeah, when I get done later, I'm going to call them and really complain and ask for my money back on at least a month. This is a bunch of troubles they keep having, and I am effing tired of it. So I'll just watch on the YouTube screen. Alright, how's the sound, guys? Hey, Jennifer. Corkboard. Jokers Nation, what's up? Yeah, I've run the... Sorry, guys, I was going to run the chat on the screen so you could see it, and it's not letting me. It's refusing to run the chat. You know, I got the authentication done. It says no. It says no, no, and no. It just won't do it. It says it's up and running, but it isn't. I don't have a lot on here. There. I think that's probably all the viewers I have. All right, guys. So what do you think's going to happen on this? Ugh. I really wanted to watch on the larger screen, but I don't want to puff this up, because it's hard for me to see the chat. If I watch on the other screen, there's a delay. It's easier to watch on my main screen. What do you guys think is going to go on here? I think Kamala is going to not really talk about a bunch of... She's not going to want to talk about their platform, what they're going to do if they're elected, any of their ideas, none of it. I think she's going to fall back on Orange Man bad. I think she's going to stick with that. I think every time Pence tries to push her into actual issues and policies, she's going to fall back on Orange Man bad, Trump derangement syndrome stuff. That's what I think. I mean, I think he's going to try, Pence should try to pin her down on some of her stances, and really try to pin them down and getting an answer on the Supreme Court thing. Will they pack the Supreme Court? Will they pack it? And I think we all know, since they won't answer it, that's what they're going to do. And where does that stop? Because then let's say the Democrats do gain the Senate. They pack the court. They add more judges, what that means, until they get, once they have the power then. Because they want to make states of Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C., which is unconstitutional. Look it up. Washington, D.C. cannot be a state. Our forefathers wanted the capital to be not to be beholden to any state, to be free and independent. It's in our Constitution. They are going to try to do that and pack the court and add more liberal judges to offset any other judges. Well, where's that stop? Because then the Republicans take the Senate back someday. Then they add more judges to offset those. It's a thing where you could have 100 judges. It's stupid. And yes, Corkboard, Pence does have to get Harris to commit on policies. And guys, I know some like this, some don't. This is not a kid stream. You can feel free to voice your opinion in colorful language, even if you are a leftist. Feel free. We may not agree with you, because I will say that most people here will be centrist to right-leaning, or at the very least, even mostly centrist people like me are ones for Trump here. But if you are a lefty, feel free to voice your opinion. Just don't throw out the same stupid stuff. Trump killed people, which has been proven false. He hates the military, proven false. You got to have something real, not just TDS. Or me and the mods will block you if you have to have TDS. Throw out stuff that's been proven. Not stuff that, Rachel Madcow throw out. Anybody see the big rant on CNN the other night where Chris Cuomo, that two-faced hypocrite, was calling Trump a bunch of names and saying it's a load of bullshit how he's up there without a mask, even though nobody was around him on the balcony. And talk about how he's an infector, even though Chris Cuomo broke his own quarantine and was caught out wandering around the city without a mask. And was called out for it, even got in a biker's face over it. Yeah, and then staged a week later like he came out. Ooh, I'm free now, I'm better. Yeah, so he has no room to talk. Hey, Jim. So yeah, when Chris Cuomo had this big fit the other night on CNN, big hissy fit.
Good evening. From the University of
sand on
Utah
his
in
tampon.
Salt Lake City.
All right, here we go.
welcome
Can
to
you
the
guys
first
hear it okay?
and
Let me know.
only vice presidential debate of 2020.
Because I got to turn down on my speakers so I
Sponsored
don't
by
have
the
echo.
Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential
And
Debates.
do you guys have any echo? Let me know.
I'm Susan Page of USA Today. It is my honor to moderate this debate, an important part
Oh, we'll
of
talk
our
in the break.
democracy.
Anybody see how CNN
In
or
Kingsbury Hall
MSNBC
tonight,
and
we have
NBC
a
got
small
caught
and socially
cheating
distant audience,
on the last
and we've taken
Biden town
extra
hall?
precautions during this pandemic.
If you have a chance,
Among
look
other
that
things,
up.
everyone in the audience is required to wear
They
face
lied about the
masks,
people
and
they
the
were
candidates will be
interviewing.
seated 12 feet apart. The audience is enthusiastic about their candidates, but they've agreed to express that enthusiasm only twice, at the end of the
All right,
debate,
guys, let's peel these
and
taters.
now, when I introduce the candidates. Please welcome California Senator Kamala
Hell yeah,
Harris
Joker, of course
and
you
Vice
got a wrench.
President Mike Pence.
Yes, Jennifer, very hypocritical. And let me know, give me thumbs up if there's no echo. Thumbs down if there's an echo. And be careful watching on your TV and trying to do both. Try to watch it here if you want to watch it here. I'm showing the whole debate. You'll miss nothing. But if you try to watch TV, the times are off.
Senator Harris and Vice President Pence, thank you for being here. We're meeting as President Trump and the First Lady continue to undergo treatment in Washington after testing positive for COVID-19. We send our thoughts and prayers to them for their rapid and complete recovery and for the recovery of
except everybody threw a fit and called for him to die.
The two campaigns and
Okay,
the
no
Commission
echo,
on
good.
Presidential Debates have agreed to the ground rules for tonight. I'm here
So
to
good.
enforce them on behalf of the millions of Americans who are watching. One note, no one in either campaign or at the Commission
somebody's got an
or
echo.
anywhere else has
Okay.
been told in advance what topics I'll raise or what questions I'll ask. This 90-minute debate will be divided into
How's that?
9
Is that any better?
segments of about 10 minutes each. I'll begin a segment by posing a question to each of you, sometimes the same question, sometimes a different question on the same topic. You will then have 2 minutes to answer without interruption by me or the other candidate. Then we'll take 6 minutes or so to discuss the issue. At that point, although there will always be more to say, we'll move on to the next topic. We want a debate that is lively, but Americans also deserve a discussion that is civil. These are tumultuous times, but we can and will have a respectful exchange about the big issues facing our nation. Let's begin with the ongoing pandemic that has cost our country so much.
Yeah, let's go after China.
Senator Harris, the
China.
coronavirus is not under control.
Say it. Say
Over the
China.
past week, Johns Hopkins reports that 39 states have had more COVID cases over the past 7 days than in the week before. 9 states
How many
have
deaths?
set new records.
Deaths have dropped
Even
to
if
the
a
bottom.
vaccine is released soon, the next administration will face hard choices. What would a Biden administration do in January and February that a Trump administration wouldn't do? Would you impose new lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots? A federal mandate to wear masks? You have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Thank you, Susan. Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country. And here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country in just the last several months. Over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers. We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment. And here's the thing.
Yet Joe wants to close it for good,
On
remember.
January 28th, the vice president and the president were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people, and that it would be contracted because it is airborne. And they knew what was happening, and they didn't tell you. Can you imagine if you knew on January 28th, as opposed to March 13th, what they knew, what you might have done to prepare? They knew, and they covered it up. The president said it was a hoax. They minimized the seriousness of it. The president said, you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't.
When Trump closed down all the travel, Pence better hammer her on this. Every Democrat out there and all the news sources were saying Trump overreacted when he closed us down to travel and enacted a national emergency. He said he was jumping the gun too early.
For administration of
They can't have it both
and making
fucking
sure that it
ways.
will be free for all. That is the plan that Joe Biden has and that I have, knowing that we have
That's
to get
all
a
she's
hold
gonna
of
spew,
what has
Jennifer.
been going on, and we need to
Lies
save
and
our
lies, where
country.
all of you can go look
And
at the
Joe Biden is
videos.
the best leader to do that, and frankly, this
Trump took
administration
this
has
way
forfeited
seriously.
Thank you,
their right to
They said he was
re-election
overreacting,
based
called him
on
Thank
racist.
you,
Remember
Senator
that?
Harris. Vice President Pence, more than 210,000 Americans have died of COVID-19 since February.
Dawn, you're really right.
The U.S.
That's
death
very
toll as a
truthful.
percentage
She
of our
did.
population is higher
She-
than that of almost every other wealthy
There's
nation.
books
on
out there
Earth.
talking about how she
For
got
instance,
her
our death
start in
rate
politics.
is 2.5 times
You're right.
that of Canada next door. You head the administration's coronavirus task force.
And he did a good job.
Why is the U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population higher than
Because
that
everybody
of almost
traveled
every
here.
other wealthy
Nobody
country?
travels to
And you have 2 minutes to
Zimbabwe.
respond without interruption.
You
Susan,
moron.
thank you.
We
And
were
I
a
want to thank
hub.
the Commission and the University of Utah for hosting this event. And Senator
Plus, we
Harris,
like freedom.
it's a privilege to be on the stage with you. And our nation has gone through a very challenging time this year. But I want the American people to know that from the very first day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America first. Before, there were more than 5 cases in the United States, all people who had returned from China. President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done, and that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world. Now, Senator Joe Biden opposed that decision.
Yep.
He said it was xenophobic and
Fact.
hysterical. But I can tell you, having led the White House Coronavirus Task Force, that decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II. And I believe it saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done to date. We were able to see to the delivery of billions of supplies so our doctors and nurses had the resources support they needed. And we began.
Look at her
really before the
snotty
month of
face.
February was
I don't like to touch women or anything.
And
You
develop
know, hit 'em.
medicines and
But
therapeutics.
don't you want to
and
kind of
saving
smack
lives
that
all along the way.
snotty
Under
look on her
President
face?
Trump's leadership, Operation Warp Speed.
She
we
just
believe, will
lied.
have
Pence is telling the
literally
truth,
tens of
and she
millions
can't
of
stand it.
doses
She can
of
sit there and
vaccine
shake her
before
head.
the end of this
That
year.
snot-ass look.
The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan, it reads an awful lot like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the way. I mean, quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, it looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about. And I think the American people know that this is a president who has put the
Thank you,
health
Vice
of America first, and the American people, I believe with my heart, can be
Thank you, Vice
proud of the
President
sacrifices they have made. It's saved
Thank you,
countless
Vice President
American
Pence.
lives.
Senator Harris.
Pence is a
would you like to
gentleman.
respond?
Absolutely. Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked.
What were
When
you
you're looking
done?
at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country, American
So
lives
what? It's going
that
to
have
happen.
been lost,
It's
families
a
that are
pandemic.
grieving that loss. And you know, the vice president is the head of the task force and knew on January 28th how serious this was. And then thanks to Bob Woodward, we learned that they knew about it. And then when that was exposed, the vice president said, when asked, well, why didn't y'all tell anybody? He said, because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's get
So no, but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I
I
wanna
have to
add,
weigh in
but
here.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh
speaking.
in.
Yeah, you can
So-
have 10 more seconds, and then we'll give the Vice
she's
President.
fun.
So I want to ask the American people, how calm were you when you were panicked about where you're going to get your next roll of toilet paper?
I wasn't panicked about my
How calm were
toilet
you
paper. I can
when your
use
kids
it.
were sent
There's a
home
lot of
from
things you can
school
use
and you
to
didn't know
wipe.
when they could go back? How calm
Thank
were
you.
you
Thank
when
you,
your
Senator
children
Harris.
couldn't see your parents because you were afraid they could kill them?
Let's give Vice President Pence a chance to respond. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute to
You know,
respond.
there's not a day gone by that I haven't thought of every American family that's lost a loved one. And I want all of you to know that you'll always be in our hearts and in our prayers. But when you say what the American people have done over these last 8 months hasn't worked, that's a great disservice to the sacrifices the American people have made.
Exactly,
The
Jim.
reality, if I may
Hey, and by the
finish,
way,
Senator,
if you're too worried about toilet
reality
paper,
is,
God,
Dr.
you can use
Fauci
rags,
said,
throw them in the washer. You can use
everything that
rags,
he
throw them
told
away. You can
the
go use
president in the Oval
leaves.
Office, the president
My
told the
God.
American people.
Were we really that
Now,
freaked
President
about
Trump, I
toilet
will
paper?
tell you, has boundless confidence in the American people, and he always spoke
That's
with
it.
confidence.
That's our
that
whole
we
thing
could
against
through
Trump
this
is
together.
toilet paper.
But when you say it hasn't worked, when Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and our medical experts,
Oops, sorry. I was trying to change the volume. I should not have done that. It's angry at me. Come on. Come on, guys. Don't do that. It was trying to change the volume. Oh, screw this. I'm going to go get the dang nut thing again. You guys are idiots. Ooh. It doesn't like what I did. Hang on. There. My God. It actually stopped the stream on my whole browser.
and their neighbors first, our
There it
doctors, our nurses, our
All right, so I'll just put it back in. Sorry, guys. That's my own fault. It's my own fault. Here. I was just trying to change the volume, and it doesn't want me to mess with it while it's streaming. So it says, do not do that. There. Wow. Oh, come on. Don't do that
Coronavirus
there.
cases among those who were there.
I won't do that again.
How can you expect Americans to follow the administration's safety guidelines to protect themselves from COVID when you at the White House have not been doing so?
Well, the American people have demonstrated over the last 8 months that when given the facts, they're willing to put the health of their families and their neighbors and people they don't even know first. And President Trump and I have great confidence in the American people and their ability to take that information and put it into practice. In the height of the epidemic, when we were losing a heartbreaking number of 2,500 Americans a day, we surged resources to New Jersey and New York and New Orleans and Detroit. We told the American people what needed to be done, and the American people made the sacrifices. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work of the President of the United States goes on. A vacancy on the Supreme Court of the United States has come upon us, and the President introduced Judge Amy Coney
Yes,
Barrett.
thank you. Thank
You
you,
guys-
Mr.
oh,
President.
If I may say that,
She
Rose
needs to
Garden
stop
Amendment.
interrupting him, but
There's
not
been a great deal
Kamala.
of speculation about it. My wife Karen and I were
Well,
there.
you already
and
see how
honored
this is
to be
going to
there.
go.
Many of the people who were at that event, Susan, actually were tested
Yes.
for coronavirus, and it was an outdoor event, which all of our scientists regularly and routinely advise. The difference here is President Trump and I trust the American people to make choices in the best interest of their
Oh, my
health.
God. The look on her
Joe
face
Biden
is killing
and
me.
Kamala Harris consistently talk about mandates, and not just mandates with the coronavirus, but a government takeover of health care,
Thank you. Thank you,
the
Vice
Green New
President.
Deal, all government control. We're about freedom and respecting the freedom of the American people.
Let's talk about respecting the American people. You respect the American people when you tell them the truth. You respect the American people when you have the courage
Which we've
to be a
always
leader
done.
speaking of those things that you may not want people to hear, but they need to hear so they can protect themselves.
Then why did
But
you
this
all call Trump
administration
names when he
stood
shut
on
us down?
information that if you had as a parent, if you had as a worker knowing you didn't have enough money saved up, and now you're standing in a food line because of the ineptitude of an administration that was unwilling to speak the truth to the American people. So let's talk about caring about the American people. The American people have had to sacrifice far too much because of the incompetence of this administration. It is asking too much of the people.
Susan, we talked
No,
about
Vice
the
It is
President.
asking too much of the people.
Let-
That they would not be equipped with the information they need to help themselves to protect
Susan,
their
the
parents
President-
and their
No, I'm
children.
Once again,
Kamala
all you
Harris,
Democrats
Senator
were
Harris,
against
I mean, I'm
everything
sorry.
Trump did
Fine, I'm
to
Kamala.
stop
No,
this.
you're Senator Harris to me.
Deny it.
For life to get back to normal, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other experts say that most of the people who can be vaccinated need to be vaccinated. But half of Americans now say they wouldn't take a vaccine if it was released now. If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it, absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Vice President Pence, there have been a lot of repercussions from this pandemic. In recent days, the president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of the job that you hold and that you are seeking. That's our second topic tonight. It's the role of the vice president. One of you will make history on January 20th. You will be the vice president to the oldest president the United States has ever had. Donald Trump will be 74 years old on Inauguration Day. Joe Biden will be 78 years old. That already has raised concerns among some voters, concerns that have been sharpened by President Trump's hospitalization in recent days. Vice President Pence, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes without interruption.
Well, Susan, thank you, although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on to the issue
thank you,
of
but I would like to go back.
Yeah,
Because
you don't let him respond.
the reality is that we're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in less than a year. We have 5 companies.
My doctors at
in
University of
phase
Iowa are
3
saying it's going to be a
clinical
matter of
trials.
months.
And we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives. The reality is that we will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year. And it will have the capacity to save
she says no. How does
countless
she know?
American lives. And your continuous undermining of confidence in a vaccine is just, it's just unacceptable.
How does she
and
know?
Let me also say,
She doesn't get the
the
briefings.
reality is when you talk about failure in this administration,
Hey, Robert,
we
how's it
actually
going,
do
man?
know what failure looks like
Welcome.
in a pandemic. It was 2009. The swine flu arrived in the United States. Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu. 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu. If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus, in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives. His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck that they did, quote, everything possible wrong. And we learned from that. They left the strategic national stockpile empty. They left an empty and hollow plan, but
They did.
we
Look
still
it up.
learned from
There's
it.
facts,
And I
government
think
numbers.
the American
Vice President Pence, your
people,
time is
I'm going
up.
to say again, can
Obama
be
Vice
emptied it
President
out,
Pence,
never
I'm sorry.
refilled
we
it.
have done. And Senator, please
Thank you, Vice
stop
President
undermining
Pence.
confidence in a vaccine.
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked
Sure.
Vice President Pence, which is, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with Vice President Biden about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not,
Of
and
course
if you
they
win the
have.
election
He's
next
out in a
month,
matter of months.
do you
She's
think
in.
you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call.
Remember,
asking
she
me
was the
to serve
worst
with him on this
received
ticket
candidate
was probably
of
one
all
most
the Democrats in the primaries.
memorable days of my life. I thought about my mother.
Choosing her was a
came to
power
the
play
United
by
States
the
at the age
far,
of
far
19.
left. They want her as
Gave
president.
birth to me at the age of 25 at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California. And
she's not
the
African
thought that I'd
American.
be sitting
Look up
here
her
right
heritage.
now, I know would make her proud, and she must be looking down on this. Joe and I were raised in a very similar way. We were raised with values that are about hard work, about the value and the dignity of public service, and about the importance of fighting for the dignity of all people. And I think Joe asked me to serve with him because, I have a career that included being elected the first woman district attorney of San Francisco, where I
Which she
created
did badly
models of
and kept people in
innovation
jail
for law enforcement
illegally.
in terms of reform of the criminal justice system. I was elected the first woman of color and black woman to be elected Attorney General of the state of California, where I ran the second
Exactly,
largest
Jim.
Department of
She got like
Justice
2
in
or
the United
3%.
States, second only to the United States Department of Justice.
Hey, I'm going to say something here. I don't
And
care if
there I
YouTube
took
bans
on
me.
everything
F
from
this color
transnational
thing.
criminal organizations
I'm a guy of
to the
color.
big banks that were taking advantage
I'm
of homeowners,
pinkish to
to
lightly
for-profit
tan.
colleges
I'm a
that
guy
were
of color.
taking
We all have
advantage of
color.
veterans.
Stop this
And then,
color
of
shit
course,
and
now
dividing
I serve
us.
in the United States Senate as only the second black woman ever elected to the United States
You're
Senate.
not
I
black.
serve on the Senate Intelligence
You're
Committee, where I've
Indian
been in
and Jamaican.
regular receipt of classified information about
And your family
threats
was
to our
rich.
nation and hotspots around the world. I've traveled the world. I've met with our soldiers in war zones. And I think Joe has asked me to serve with him because he knows that we share. We share.
see,
a
that's why you
purpose,
only
which is
watch
about
my
lifting up
stream.
the American people.
And that's where
And
you get your
after the
sound
4
from. You
years
don't
that
watch
we
the
have seen
TV.
of Donald Trump unifying our country around our common values and principles.
Thank you, Senator Harris. You know, neither President Trump nor Vice President Biden has released a sort of detailed health information that had become the modern norm until the 2016 election. And in recent days, President Trump's doctors have given misleading answers or refused to answer basic questions about his health.
No,
And
they
my
haven't. They've
question
answered
to
tons of
each
hard
you
questions.
In turn, is this information
Bullshit,
voters
bullshit.
deserve to know? Vice President Pence, would you like to go first?
Well, Susan, thank you. And,
Hey, Rich.
and let me say, on behalf of the president,
Oh,
and the
yeah,
First
Rich.
Lady,
Tell me about it.
how moved we've all been by the outpouring of prayers and concern for the president. And I do believe it's emblematic of the prayers and the concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus. But the care the president received at Walter Reed Hospital, the White House doctors, was exceptional. And the transparency that they practiced all along the way will continue. The American people have a right to know about the health and well-being of their president, and will continue to do that. But I'm just extremely grateful and was more than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions of genuine concern. And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic nature of your nomination.
Exactly, Jennifer. You
I
notice
never
lefties always
expected to
mention
be on
color.
this stage
I'm
4
sorry
years
there's any
ago,
lefties
so
here, but you
I know
guys
the
do. You
feeling.
mention color all the
But,
time. And gender.
The reality is, we've got an election before the American people in the midst of this challenging year, and the stakes have never been higher, but I think the choice has never been clearer.
I want to give
She's
Senator
always
Harris a chance to
interrupting
respond
him.
to the same
Interrupt
question I asked,
Kamala
which is,
for
do
once.
voters
Come on, let's
have
hear
a
it.
right
Interrupt
to know
Kamala.
more detailed health information
Look
about
at her
presidential candidates,
smile.
and
She knows
especially
she's
about
getting away with
presidents,
this.
especially when they're facing some kind of challenge?
Absolutely, and that's why Joe Biden has been so incredibly transparent, and certainly by contrast, the president has not, both in terms of health records, but also let's look at taxes. We now know, because of great investigative journalism, that Donald Trump paid $750 in taxes.
That's not
When I
true.
first
Look
heard
up what
about
he's
it,
paid and a bunch of
I
the other
literally
taxes.
said, you mean $750,000?
And he followed the laws that Biden put in place,
And it was
and
like,
Kamala.
no, $750. We now know Donald Trump owes and is in debt for $400 million. And just so everyone is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, owes money to, because the American people have a right to know what is influencing the President's decisions. And is he making those decisions on the best interest of the American people, of you, or self-interest? So, Susan, I'm glad you asked about transparency, because it has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many,
Bull. If
many
anybody saw one of
years.
my videos,
The one thing we all
Biden
know
dodged
about
over
Joe,
$500,000
he puts it
in
all out
taxes
there.
in 1
He
year a while
is
back
honest,
by
he
doing
is
the same
forthright.
thing Trump has done.
But Donald Trump, on the other hand,
$500,000 in taxes in 1 year.
Thank you, Senator Harris. I want to give you a chance.
Biden is not some poor boy.
Well, look, I
Neither is she.
respect the fact that Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life.
Trevor.
I respect your public service as well.
Same here, Corkborg. She
The
knows the
American
fix
people
is
have a
in.
president who's a businessman, he's a job creator, who's paid tens of millions of dollars in taxes, payroll taxes, property taxes. He's created tens of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people can review just as the law allows. But the distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you, Vice
and
President.
turned this economy around by cutting taxes, rolling back regulation,
Thank you,
unleashing
Vice
American
President.
energy, fighting for
Here
free
she
and
is,
fair
interrupting
trade,
him again.
And all of that's
Thank you,
on the
Vice
line
President
if
Pence.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's a good
White.
segue into our third
Yeah,
topic,
Biden's
which
kid had no
is
job,
about
was
the
broke,
economy.
no
This has
skills,
been another
until Biden
aspect
became
of life
president.
for
Now he's
Americans that's been
multi-millionaire.
so affected by this coronavirus. We have a jobs crisis brewing.
God, that smirk.
On Friday, we learned that the unemployment rate had declined to 7.9% in September, but that job growth had stalled, and that was before
It
the
didn't
latest
stall,
round of
it
layoffs and
slowed.
furloughs in
It
the
didn't
airline industry
stall.
at Disney and elsewhere. Hundreds of thousands of
She
discouraged
is
workers have stopped
lying.
looking
Can we
for
fact
work.
check the moderator?
Nearly 11 million jobs that existed at the beginning of the year haven't been replaced. Those
Because
hardest
there's
hit
still
include
lockdowns in
Latinos, blacks, and
friggin'
women.
Democrat states.
Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that new spending by raising $4 trillion in taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations. Some economists warn that could curb entrepreneurial ventures that fuel growth and create jobs. Would raising taxes put the recovery at risk? And you have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
Thank you. On the issue of the economy, I think there couldn't be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing, which is why
yeah,
he
'cause rich
passed
people
a
are
tax
happier.
bill benefiting the
can
top 1%
afford more, are
and
healthier.
the biggest corporations of America, leading to a $2 trillion deficit that the American people are going to have to pay for. On day
Coronavirus,
one,
you moron.
Joe Biden will repeal that tax bill. He'll get rid of it. And what he'll do with the money is invest it in the American people. And
There you go,
through
Joker.
a plan that is about investing in infrastructure, something that Donald Trump said he would do. I remember hearing about some infrastructure week. I don't think it ever happened. But Joe Biden will do that. He'll invest in infrastructure. It's about upgrading our roads
Robert,
and
you're
bridges,
bad.
but also investing in clean energy and renewable energy. Joe is going to invest that money in what we need to do around innovation. There was a time when our country believed in science and invested in research and development so that we were an innovation leader on the globe. Joe Biden will use that money to invest in education. So, for example, for folks who want to go to a 2-year community college, it will be free. If you come from a family that makes less than $125,000, you'll go to a public university for free. And across the board, we'll make sure that if you have student loan debt, it's cut by $10,000. That's how Joe Biden thinks about the economy, which is it's about investing in the people of our country, as opposed to passing a tax bill, which had the benefit of letting American corporations go offshore to do their business.
Thank you,
You're
Senator
welcome.
Harris. Vice President Pence, your administration has been predicting a rapid and robust recovery, but the latest economic report suggests that's not happening. Should Americans be braced for an economic comeback that is going to take not months, but a year or more?
Exactly,
You have 2
Corkboard.
minutes to answer uninterrupted.
When President Trump and I took office,
Agreed,
America had gone
Rich. We
through
need
the slowest
debates.
economic recovery since the Great Depression. Because when Joe Biden was vice president, they tried to tax and spend and regulate and bail our way back to a growing economy. President Trump cut taxes across the board. Despite what Senator Harris says, the average American family of
I know I'm
four
interrupting
had
these guys, but hey, it's
$2,000
proof.
in savings
I'm
from
a poor
taxes.
boy.
And
Me and my wife aren't making
with
tons
the
of money.
rise in
We
wages
get
that
by.
occurred,
We
most
are
predominantly
doing
for
decent.
blue-collar,
Under
hardworking
Barack
Americans,
Obama, all 8
the
years,
average
we
household
lost
income for a
out.
family of four
The
increased
business
by
I owned part of went out of
following
business because of
President
Barack
Trump's
Obama's
tax cuts.
policies on medical.
But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell
Under
you,
Donald Trump,
on
even
day
as
one,
low as we were,
Joe
we've
Biden's
come
gonna raise
back
your
up.
taxes. It's really remarkable to think, Susan. I mean, right after a time where we're going through a pandemic that lost 22 million jobs at the height, we've already added back 11.6 million jobs because we had a president who cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and secured $4 trillion from the Congress of the United States to give direct payments to families, save 50 million jobs through the Paycheck Protection Program. We literally have spared no expense to help the American people and the American worker through this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to raise taxes. They want to bury our economy under a $2 trillion Green New Deal, which you were one of the original co-sponsors of in the United States Senate. They want to abolish fossil fuels.
Go for it,
and
Obama
ban
Snowman.
fracking, which would cost hundreds of
With
thousands
my health problem, I got
of
a
American
lot to
jobs
say
all
about
across the
Obamacare.
heartland. And Joe Biden wants to go back to the economic surrender
put
to China.
my
that when
business
we
out of
took
business
office,
'cause we had good insurance.
Half of our international trade deficit was with China alone. And Joe Biden wants to repeal all of the tariffs that President Trump put into effect to fight for American jobs and American workers. Joe Biden says democracy's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan. The American economy, the American comeback is on the ballot with 4 more years of growth
Thank you.
and opportunity,
Thank you,
4
Vice
more years of President Donald Trump. 2021
Thank
is
you,
going to
Vice
be the
President
biggest
Pence.
economic year in the history of this country.
Thank you, Vice President Pence. Senator Harris.
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on facts.
Hells
and
yes,
truth.
Snowman,
And
that's the way it
truth and
should
the
be.
fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000
He said
a
he's going to
year.
repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait,
I'm speaking.
it'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year.
Senator, that is
that's the math.
absolutely not true.
It is
That's
true. It's on
Only
video.
going- Is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we
Oh,
can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay.
oh, bitch.
Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear
He
about
has
that.
said he would end fracking and then bounce
Joe
back and
Biden.
forth.
Is the one who,
It's on
during
video.
the Great Recession, was responsible
Sorry.
for the Recovery Act that brought America back. And now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the coattails of Joe Biden's success for the economy that they had at the beginning of their term. Of course, now the economy is a complete disaster. But Joe Biden, on the one hand, did that. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great Depression. On the one hand, you have Joe Biden, who was responsible with President Barack Obama for the Affordable Care Act, which brought health care to over 20 million Americans.
You know, Don,
and
you're
protected
right.
people with pre-existing conditions. And what it
That's
also
the cover.
did is it saved those families who otherwise were going bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in court right now, trying to get rid of,
Thank you, Senator
the Affordable Care Act, which
Good.
means that you
I
will
want
lose
my
protections
insurance back I
if
had
you have
before
pre-existing
Obamacare, you
conditions. And
piece of
this
crap.
is very important, Susan.
Yes,
and it's
but we need to
important
give Vice President.
I'd just
I want
like
the
to- he
options I
interrupted me,
used to
and
have.
I'd like to just finish, please. If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you. If you love someone who has a pre-existing
It's nonsense.
condition,
Thank you. Thank
they're
you, Senator
coming
Harris.
for you. If
I
you're
have
under the
cystic
age of
fibrosis,
26
you
on your
cunt.
parents' coverage, they're coming for you.
You guys took
Senator
away
Harris,
my
thank you.
insurance.
Let me give you a chance to respond.
I
Well,
have a
hope we have chance
pre-existing
to talk about
condition,
healthcare,
life-threatening.
because Obamacare was a disaster.
You took away my
The American
insurance.
people remember it well. And President Trump and I have a plan to improve health care and to protect pre-existing conditions for every American. But look, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running for president that you would ban fracking. Joe Biden looked at a supporter in the eye and pointed and said, I guarantee that we will abolish fossil fuels. They have a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal, Susan, that your newspaper, USA Today, said really wasn't that very different from the original Green New Deal. More taxes, more regulation, banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy, and economic surrender to China is a prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now
Hi,
will
Connie.
continue with 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House.
Thank you very, very much, Vice President Pence. Once again, you've provided the perfect segue to a new topic. which is climate change.
Which is,
And
get
Vice
out of here
President
before
Pence,
Kamala
I'd like to
totally
pose
gets
the first
slaughtered on this
question
topic.
to you. This year we've seen record-setting hurricanes in the south. Another one, Hurricane Delta, is now threatening the Gulf. And we have seen record-setting wildfires in the west. Do you believe, as the scientific community has concluded, that man-made climate change has made wildfires bigger, hotter, and more deadly, and have made hurricanes wetter, slower, and more damaging? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. Well, first, I'm very proud of our record on the environment and on conservation. According to all of the best estimates, our air and land are cleaner than any time ever recorded. And our water is among the cleanest in the world. And just a little while ago, the President signed the Outdoors Act. It's the largest investment in our public lands and public parks in 100 years. So President Trump has made a commitment to conservation and to the environment. Now, with regard to climate change, the climate is changing. But the issue is, what's the cause and what do we do about it? President Trump has made it clear that we're going to continue to listen to the science. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. They'd impose the Green New Deal, which would crush American energy, would increase the energy costs of American families in their homes, and literally would crush American jobs. And President Trump and I believe that the progress that we have made in a cleaner environment has been happening precisely because we have a strong free market economy. You know, what's remarkable is the United States has reduced CO2 more than the countries that are still in the Paris Climate Accord, but we've done it through innovation.
America is one of the cleanest of the large countries in the world.
And fracking, which Senator,
Per
the American
capita,
people
we
can
put out
go look at the
very little
record.
emissions.
I know Joe Biden says otherwise now, as you
China
do.
and India put
but the
out
both of you
20
repeatedly
times
committed
each what
to
we do.
abolishing fossil fuel and banning fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation,
Hey,
we're
G.
actually
Glider,
steering
welcome.
toward
He
stronger
is a
and better
shiny guy.
environment. With regard to wildfires,
I will say this, does
President
Mike
Trump
Pence's
and I
hair
believe that
move?
forest management has to be front and center, and even Governor Gavin Newsom from your state has agreed we've got to work on forest management. And with regard to hurricanes, the National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually as difficult as they are,
Thank you, Vice President.
there are no more hurricanes today than
Thank
there
you.
were 100 years ago.
Thank you.
But many of the climate alarmists
President Pence,
use
I'm sorry, your time
hurricanes
is up.
and wildfires to try and
Thank
sell
you,
their
Vice
bill of
President
goods of a
Pence.
Green New Deal. And President Trump and I are going to always put
Thank you,
American
Vice
jobs and
President
American
Pence.
workers first.
Senator Harris, as the Vice President mentioned, you co-sponsored the Green New Deal in Congress. But Vice President Biden said in last week's debate that he does not support the Green New Deal.
No, the Green
But if you
New
look
Deal,
at the
look it up.
Biden-Harris campaign
It'll
website, it
cost
describes the Green New
trillions
Deal
of dollars
as a crucial framework.
and will end
What exactly
half the stuff
would
we
be the
use today,
stance
except
of
for
a
rich people.
Biden-Harris administration
And we'll be back to
toward
pretty much
the Green New
horses.
Deal? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact.
He said
That
he
is a
would.
fact. I will repeat that Joe Biden has been very clear that he thinks about
Do I have to go
growing
look up videos and
jobs,
play
which is
them
why
here?
He will not increase taxes for anyone
said he
who
would.
makes less than $400,000 a year. Joe Biden's economic plan, Moody's, which is a reputable Wall Street firm, has said will create 7 million more jobs than Donald Trump's. And part of those jobs that will be created by Joe Biden are going to be about clean energy and renewable energy. Because you see, Joe understands that the west coast of our country is burning, including my home state of California.
That's your own fault.
Joe sees what is happening on the Gulf states, which are being battered by storms. Joe has seen and talked with the farmers in Iowa, whose entire crops have been destroyed because of floods.
That's your own fault.
And so Joe believes, again, in science. I'll tell you something, Susan. I served, when I first got to the Senate, on the committee that's responsible for the environment. Do you know this administration took the word science off the website and then took the phrase climate change off the website?
You're going to
We have
blame
seen
the
a
forest
pattern with
fires
this
in California on
administration,
Donald
because they
Trump, who's
don't
only
believe
been
in
there for
science.
4
And Joe's
fudging
plan
years.
is about saying we're going to deal with it, but
You
we're also going to create
disgusting
jobs.
POS.
Trump, when asked about the wildfires in California, and the question was, the scientists telling
How
us
did
it's more
Trump
than
cause the
what he said.
forest fires in
Science doesn't
California
know.
in only 3 to 4 years?
So let's
You
talk about who is
disgusting
prepared
turd of
to
a
lead
human.
our country over the course of
How
the
about
next 4
not doing
years
back
on
burns?
what is
How about
an
not allowing
existential
the
threat
trimming of the
to us
forest,
as human
deadfall
beings.
removal?
Joe is about saying
Look
we're
how
gonna
the
invest
forest
that in
fires
renewable
stopped
energy,
right at the
which is gonna be
Canadian
about the
border where they
creation of
still
millions
have
of jobs.
forestry
We will
management.
achieve net
You can look it up on the
zero
satellite,
emissions
stopped
by
right at the border.
2050, carbon neutral by 2035. Joe has a plan. This has been a lot of talk from the Trump administration, and really it has been to go backward instead of forward. We will also re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Senator Harris just said that climate change is an existential threat. Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science.
Why are we talking about this? What does this have to
Once
do with the
again,
presidential debate
Senator
or
Harris
VP debate?
is denying the fact
What's
that
that have to do with the
they're gonna raise
riots?
taxes
What does that have to do with
on
the
every American.
virus?
Joe
What does this have to
Biden
do
said
with your
twice in
policies
the
on
debate last
taxes,
week that
on the
day
rest of
one,
the
he
world,
was going
and
to
what you're going to
repeal
do for
the
us?
tax cuts. Those tax cuts delivered $2,000 in tax relief to
God,
the
Don.
average family of 4 across America. And with regard to banning fracking, I just recommend that people look at the
my God,
record.
you
You
guys are gonna
yourself
kill
said
me.
repeatedly that you would ban fracking. You were the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the Green New Deal, Susan, thank you for pointing out, the Green New Deal is on their campaign website. And as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored with AOC when she submitted it in the Senate. And you just heard the senator say that she's going to resubmit America to the Paris Climate Accord. Look, the American people have always cherished our environment. We'll continue to cherish it. We've made great progress reducing CO2 emissions through American innovation and the development of natural gas through fracking. We don't need a massive $2 trillion Green New Deal that would impose all new mandates on American businesses and American families.
Thank you.
Joe Biden wants us
Thank
to
you, Vice
retrofit
President Pence.
4 million
Thank you, Vice
American
President
business
Pence.
buildings. It makes no sense. It will cost jobs. President Trump
Thank
is
you,
going to
Vice
put
President
America
Pence.
first. He's going to put jobs first, and we're going to take care of our environment and follow the science.
Thank
But
you, Vice President
on
Pence.
the issue of jobs,
Senator Harris.
let's talk about that. The vice president earlier referred to, as part of what he thinks is an accomplishment, the president's trade war with China.
Yes.
You lost that trade
No,
war.
we have
You
not lost. We
it.
were losing before.
What ended up happening?
How can you be
is because of
worse
a
off than we were
so-called
before?
trade war with China, America lost.
I live in the
300,000
heartland. Farmers are
manufacturing
happier than crap with what China has to buy from us
Farmers
now.
have experienced bankruptcy because of it. We are in a manufacturing recession because of it. And
We
when
were
look
losing
at
to
where
China
this
by the
administration has
billions
been,
a year.
there are estimates
We have
that by
narrowed
the end
that
of the
gap.
term
How is he
of this
losing?
administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration. And the American people know what I'm talking about. You know. I think about 20-year-olds. You know, we have a 20-year-old, a 20-something-year-old, who are coming out of high school and college right now, and you're wondering, is there going to be a job there for me? We're looking at people who are trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent by the end of the month. Almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent by the end of the month. This is where the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership of this administration.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you just 15 seconds to respond.
Oh,
because then I
2
wanna move on.
seconds.
Well, I'd love to respond. Look, lost the trade war with China. Joe Biden never fought it. Joe Biden's been a cheerleader for communist China through over the last several decades. And again, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe Biden was vice president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. And President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back. In our first 3 years after we cut taxes,
you, Vice
rolled back
President.
regulation, unleashed American energy, this administration saw 500,000
Thank you, Vice
manufacturing
President
jobs
Pence.
created. And that's exactly the kind of growth we're going to continue to see as we bring our nation through
Thank you, Vice
this
President
pandemic.
Pence.
But a
Mr.
Green New
Thank you,
Deal, your
Vice
massive
President
new
Pence.
mandates, your Paris Climate Accord, it's going to kill jobs this time, just like it killed jobs.
I'd like
Susan,
to-
I just need to respond very briefly,
15
please.
seconds, and
Thank
then
you.
we'll move
Thank
on.
you. Joe Biden is responsible for saving
ouch, Jay
America's
Watterson.
auto industry, and you voted against it. So let's set the record straight. Thank you.
I'd like to talk about China. We have, as our next topic, we have no more complicated or consequential foreign relationship than the one with China. It is a huge market for American agricultural goods. It's a potential partner in dealing with climate change in North Korea. And in a video tonight, President Trump again blamed it for the coronavirus, saying China will pay. Vice President Pence, how would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Competitors, adversaries, enemies? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Susan. Well, before I leave that, let me speak to voting records if I can. You know, everybody knows that NAFTA cost literally thousands of American factories to close. We saw automotive jobs go south of the border. President Trump fought to renegotiate NAFTA. And the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land. American people deserve to know Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA. It was a huge win for American auto workers. It was a huge win for American farmers, especially dairy in the upper Midwest. But Senator, you said it didn't go far enough on climate change, that you put your radical environmental agenda ahead of American auto workers and ahead of American jobs. I think the American people deserve to know that. It's probably why Newsweek magazine said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019. More liberal than Bernie Sanders, more liberal than any of the others in the United States Senate. So now with regard to China, look, Susan, first and foremost, China is to blame for the coronavirus. And President Trump is not happy about it. He's made that very clear, made it clear again today. China and the World Health Organization did not play straight with the American people. They did not let our personnel into China to get information on the coronavirus until the middle of February. Fortunately, President Trump, in dealing with China from the outset of this administration, standing up to China that had been taking advantage of America for decades in the wake of Joe Biden's cheerleading for China, President Trump made that decision before the end of January to suspend all travel from China. And again, the American people deserve to know Joe Biden opposed President Trump's decision to suspend all travel from China. He said it was hysterical. He said it was
Thank you,
xenophobic.
Vice President Pence.
But President Trump has
Vice
stood
President Pence,
up
your
to
time is
China.
up.
We're going to continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
We want to improve the relationship, but we're going to level the playing field, and we're going to hold
Vice President
China
Pence.
accountable for what they did to America with the coronavirus.
Thank you. Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked the Vice President. How would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Are we competitors, adversaries, enemies? You'll have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Susan, the Trump administration's perspective and approach to China has resulted in the loss of American lives, American jobs, and America's standing. There's a weird obsession that President Trump has had with getting rid of whatever accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and Vice President Biden. For example, they created within the White House an office that basically was responsible for monitoring pandemics. They got rid of it.
Not true.
There was a team of disease experts that President Obama and Vice President Biden dispatched to China to monitor what is now predictable and what might happen. They pulled them out. We now are looking at 210,000 Americans who have lost their lives. Let's look at the job situation. We mentioned before the trade deal, the trade war, they wanted to call it, with China. It resulted in the loss of over 300 manufacturing jobs and a
Dumb
manufacturing
bitch.
recession.
We have more manufacturing
And the
jobs
American
now than we've
consumer
had in the
paid
last
thousands of
30
dollars
plus
more for
years in
goods
America.
because of that failed
Even after
war, that they
Cyrus the
called it.
virus.
Then let's talk about standing. Pew, a reputable research firm, has done an analysis that shows that leaders of all of our formerly allied countries have now decided that they hold in greater esteem and respect Xi Jinping, the head of the Chinese Communist Party, than they do Donald Trump, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States.
China wants Biden
This
to
is
win.
where
That
we
should
are
say it all.
today because of a failure of leadership by this administration.
China wouldn't want
Senator
good
Harris,
leadership, you
we've seen
stupid
changes
twat.
in the
China
in the
wants
role of
any
the United
yes
States
man
in
like
terms of
you
global
and
leadership over the
you and
past
Joe.
4 years. And of course, times do change. What's your definition? We've seen strains with China, of course, as the vice president mentioned. We've seen strains with our
China
traditional
kills their own
allies
people. Why
in
are we
NATO
dealing
and
with them?
elsewhere. What is your definition of the role of American leadership in 2020?
So, you know, Joe is, I love talking with Joe about a lot of these issues. And, you know, Joe, I think he said it quite well. He says, you know, foreign policy, it might sound complicated, but really it's relationships. So just think about it as relationships. And so we know this in our personal and professional relationships. You got to keep your word to your friends. You got to be loyal to your friends. People who've stood with you, got to stand with them. You got to know who your adversaries are and keep them in check. But what we have seen with Donald Trump is that he
Russia.
has betrayed our friends and embraced dictators around the world. Let's take, for example, Russia.
Oh, God, I said it. I said it.
Russia. I serve on the Intelligence Committee of the United States Senate. America's
There is no
intelligence
proof. Show the
community
proof.
told
There is
us
none.
Russia interfered in the election of the President of the United States in 2016 and is playing in 2020. Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, said the same. But Donald Trump, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America, prefers to take the word of Vladimir Putin over the word of the American intelligence community. You look at our friends at NATO. He has walked away from agreements. You can look at the Iran nuclear deal, which now has put us in a position where we are less safe because they are building up what might end up being a significant nuclear arsenal. We were in that deal, guys. We were in the Iran nuclear deal with friends, with allies around the country. And because of Donald Trump's unilateral approach to foreign policy,
Trump has been tougher on Russia than
he
Obama
pulled
ever
us out and
was.
has made America less safe. So, Susan, it's about relationships. And the thing that has always been part of the strength of our nation, in addition to our great military, has been that we keep our word. But Donald Trump doesn't understand that because he doesn't understand what it means to be honest.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, thank you. Well, President Trump kept his word when we moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, the capital of the state of Israel. When Joe Biden was vice president, they promised to do that, and they never did. We've stood strong with our allies, but we've been demanding. NATO is now contributing more to our common defense than ever before, thanks to President Trump's leadership. We've strengthened our alliances across the Asia-Pacific, and we've stood strong against those who would do us harm. You know, when President Trump came into office, ISIS had captured an area of the Middle East the size of Pennsylvania. But President Trump unleashed the American military, and our armed forces destroyed the ISIS caliphate and took down their leader, al-Baghdadi, without one American casualty. Al-Baghdadi was responsible for the death of thousands.
Yeah, Rich. And the funny thing is, she talks about Chinese Communist Party as like they're good things.
Here with us tonight,
like they're nice
in Salt Lake
people.
City. Today, 2 of the ISIS killers responsible for Kayla Mueller's murder were brought to justice in the United States. Jihadi John was killed on the battlefield along with the other beetle. The reality is that when Joe Biden was vice president, we had an opportunity to save Kayla
That's what she's
Mueller.
running for, Bunny.
Breaks my heart to reflect on it, but the military came into the Oval Office, presented a plan. They said they knew where Kayla was. Baghdadi had held her for 18 months, abused her mercilessly before they killed her. But when Joe Biden was vice president, they hesitated for a month. And when armed forces finally went in, it was clear she'd been moved 2 days earlier. And her family says with a heart that broke the heart of every American that if President Donald Trump had been president, they believe Kayla would be alive today.
Thank you, Vice
Look,
President.
we destroyed the ISIS caliphate.
Yes.
And you talk about re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. I mean, the last administration transferred $1.8 billion to the leading state sponsor
Thank you, Vice
of
President
terrorism.
Pence.
President Donald Trump got us out of the deal.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
And when Qasem Soleimani was traveling to Baghdad
Thank you,
to do
Vice President
harm
Pence.
to Americans, President Donald Trump took
Thank you,
him
Vice
out.
President Pence.
And America is safer, our allies are safer, and the American people know President Donald Trump will never have
Thank you, Vice President
to take
Pence.
action.
I would like to give Senator Harris a chance to respond.
Oh,
but
yeah,
not
you're gonna give her a
discreetly,
law- a
because,
good
of course, there
chance.
are other
Watch
topics
this.
we want to talk about.
But I would like equal time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
First of all, to the Mueller family.
Yeah, they haven't talked about
I
that
know
yet, Richard.
about
Boy,
your
they
daughter's
should.
case, and I'm so sorry.
Hey, welcome, North
so sorry.
NW.
What happened to her is awful. And it should have never happened. And I know Joe feels the same way. And I know that President Obama feels the same way.
And true, NW.
But you mentioned Soleimani. Let's start there. So after the strike on Soleimani, there was a counter strike.
No, there wasn't. It was
On our
crap.
troops
They didn't
in
hit
Iraq.
nobody.
And they suffered serious brain injuries. And do you know what Donald Trump dismissed them as? Headaches. And this is about a pattern of Donald Trump's, where he has referred to our men who are serving in our military as suckers and losers. Donald Trump, who went to Arlington Cemetery and stood above the graves of our fallen heroes and said, what's in it for them? Because, of course, you know, he only thinks about what's in it for him. Let's
Oh,
take
really?
what he said about John McCain, a great American hero. And
You
Donald
guys can look
Trump
this up.
says
Trump has lost
he doesn't deserve to be
hundreds
called
of
a hero
millions
because
of
he was a
dollars being
prisoner
president.
of war.
He
Take-
is
and
not
this is
making as
very
much
important
money. He's
when you
losing
wanna
money
talk
being
about
president.
Who is the current commander-in-chief and what they care about and what they don't care about.
Show me where Trump gave crap
Public
about himself.
reporting That Russia had bounties
I
on
never
the
saw
heads
Obama cry about the soldiers
of
or feel bad
American
about what he did to them.
soldiers. And you know what a bounty is? It's somebody puts a price on your head and they will pay it if you are killed. And Donald Trump had talked at least 6 times to Vladimir Putin and never brought up the subject. Joe Biden would never do that.
Thank you.
Joe Biden would, but Joe Biden would hold Russia to account for any threat to our nation's
Why do they act like
security or to
Russia is our
troops
biggest threat?
who are sacrificing their lives for the sake of our democracy and our safety?
Thank you, Senator Harris. This is
James
such an
Woods
important
just
issue, but we have
tweeted,
other
is it
important
my
issues as
imagination
well.
or has
I wanna
Kamala
make
Harris
sure we have a
dodged
chance to
every
really have
single
to respond
question
to
she's
that.
been asked?
I'm-
Look, she has.
15 seconds because
Well, I gotta
we're
have
trying
more
to
than
keep.
that. Look.
Well, I'm sorry, but Vice President
Look,
Pence, you've had more time than she's had so far.
The slanders against President Donald Trump regarding men and women of our armed forces are absurd.
I'm sorry, Vice
My
President
son is
Pence.
a captain in the United
Yes.
States Marine Corps. My son-in-law is deployed in the United States Navy. I can assure all of you, with sons and daughters serving in our military.
Ooh, Biden has got a
President
tweet
Donald
out
Trump
showing
not
where
only
they both
respects,
said they'd
but
ban fracking.
reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous. Let
Thank
me
you,
also
Vice President
say,
Pence.
the
Vice
the
President
American
Pence,
people
you know,
deserve, Susan,
Vice
the
President
American
Pence,
people
I
deserve to
didn't,
know.
Vice President
that-
Pence, I did not, excuse me,
Susan, the
I did
American
not
people
create
deserve
the
to know
rules for tonight.
Joe Biden
Your
and Trump-
campaigns agreed to the rules for tonight's
I-
debate with the Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm here to enforce them, which involves moving from one topic to another, giving roughly equal time to both of you,
Go right
which is what I'm trying very hard to do.
Go right ahead.
So I want to go ahead and move to the next topic, which is an important one, as the last topic was, and that is the Supreme Court.
Yeah, Joker, I've been timing it too.
On Monday, the
moderator's
Senate
been
Judiciary
given
Committee is
Kamala
scheduled
2
to
to
open
3
hearings on
times
Amy
the amount
Coney
of time.
Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator Harris, you'll be there as a member of the committee. Her confirmation would cement the court's conservative majority and make it likely open to more abortion restrictions, even to overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling. Access to abortion would then be up to the states. Vice President Pence, you're the
And
former
that is
governor
true,
of
Bunny.
Indiana.
That is absolutely
If
a fact.
Roe v.
She
Wade
did
is
leave him there to
overturned,
die.
what would you want Indiana to do? Would you want your home state to ban all abortions? You have 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
Well, thank you for the question, but I'll use a little bit of my time to respond to that very important issue before. The American people deserve to know Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, was responsible for the death of hundreds of American service members. When the opportunity came, we saw him headed to Baghdad to kill more Americans. President Trump didn't hesitate, and Qasem Soleimani is gone. But you deserve to know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually criticized the decision to take out Qasem Soleimani. It's really inexplicable, but with regard to Joe Biden, it's explainable. Because history records that Joe Biden actually opposed the raid against Osama bin Laden. It's absolutely essential that we have a commander-in-chief who will
Agreed,
not
Jim. I
hesitate
noticed
to
that.
act
Probably
to protect
Kamala wouldn't come
American
out in
lives
front of the
and
damn
to protect
flag.
American service members, and that's what you have.
Feel
in
dirty
President
there.
Donald
She's
Trump.
wearing one.
Now, with regard to the Supreme Court of the United States, let me say President Trump and I could not be more enthusiastic about the opportunity to
Exactly,
see Judge Amy Coney
Corkboard.
Barrett
You say it
become
enough
Justice
times,
Amy
the
Coney
soft-headed
Barrett.
morons out there
She's a
will
brilliant
believe
woman.
stuff.
And
I
she
have
will
those
bring
people
a
in my
lifetime of
family.
experience and a sizable American family.
People in my family
to the
will
Supreme
not
Court of
watch the
United
full
States.
videos of what Trump
And our hope
says.
is, in the
They just want to
hearing
go
next
by
week,
what Rachel
unlike
Maddow
Justice
and Bill
Kavanaugh
Maher
received
say.
with treatment from you and others,
Refuse to watch full
but
videos.
we hope she gets a fair hearing. And we particularly hope that we don't see the kind of attacks on her Christian faith that we saw before. I mean, the Democrat chairman of the Judiciary Committee before, when Judge Barrett was being confirmed for the Court of Appeals, expressed concern that the dogma of her faith lived loudly in her. Dick Durbin of Illinois said that it was a concern. Senator, I know one of our judicial nominees you actually attacked because they were a member of the Catholic Knights of Columbus, just because the Knights of Columbus holds pro-life views and
Thank you.
pro-marriage views.
Thank you, Vice President.
Oh,
Pence.
stop
When
him.
the hearing
Gotta
takes
stop
place,
him.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
that Judge Amy Coney Barrett will be respected,
Thank you,
treated
Vice President
respectfully,
Pence.
voted and confirmed
Thank
to the
you.
Supreme Court of the United States.
Senator Harris, you're the senator from and former Attorney General of California. So let me ask you a parallel question to the one I posed to the Vice President. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want California to do? Would you want your home state to enact no restrictions on access to abortion? And you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. First of all, Joe Biden and I are both people of faith.
All right, guys, I'm going to say something
And it's
here.
insulting
And
to
some of you may get
suggest
angry, but listen,
that we
hear me
would
out.
Knock
I am
anyone for their
pro-choice.
faith. And in fact,
Not
Joe,
because I'm
if
pro-abortion,
elected, will be only
but
the
because
second,
freedom of choice is part of
practicing
America,
Catholic,
and also I
as
do
President of
believe
the
Roe
United
v. Wade
States.
should be overturned. I keep
on
listening,
the issue of this,
because
of
the
this nomination,
Constitution does not give that power to the
Joe and I
Supreme
are very
Court.
clear, as
It should
are
be
the
up to
majority of the
each
American people.
state.
We are 27 days before the decision about who will be the next president of the United States.
Noel.
Before
Oh, my
when
Lord.
this conversation has come up, it's been about election year or election time. We're literally in an election. Over 4 million people have voted. People are in the process of voting right now. And so Joe has been very clear, as the American people are. Let the American people fill that seat in the White House, and then we'll fill that seat on the United States Supreme Court. And to your
President is
point,
voted in
Susan,
for
this
4
issue
years.
before
Even
us couldn't be more serious. There's the
Ruth
issue
Bader
of
Ginsburg
choice,
said
and
that. The
I will
president
always
is
fight
full
for a
force for
woman's
4
right to
years,
make a
not
decision about her
3 or
own
3 and a
body.
half.
It should be her decision and not that of Donald Trump and
Ginsburg
the Vice President, Michael
herself
Pence.
said that is
But
not the way it
let's also
works.
look at what else is before the court. It's the Affordable Care Act. Like, literally in the midst of a public health pandemic, when over 210,000 people have died and 7 million people probably have what will be in the future considered a pre-existing condition because you contracted the virus.
Oh, shut
Donald
up.
Trump is in court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And I said it before, and it bears repeating. This means
Exactly, Jim.
that there will be no more protections if they win for people with pre-existing conditions. This means that over 20 million people will lose your coverage. It means that if you're under the age of 26, you can't stay on your parents' coverage anymore. And here's the thing. The contrast couldn't be more clear. They're trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Joe Biden is saying, let's expand coverage. Let's give you a choice of a public
Thank you,
option
Senator.
or private coverage. Let's bring down premiums.
Thank you, Senator
Let's
Harris.
lower Medicare eligibility to 60.
Thank you, Senator.
That's true
Harris.
leadership.
You mentioned earlier, Vice President Pence, that the president was committed to maintaining protections for people with pre-existing conditions. but you do have this court case that you are supporting, your administration supporting, that would strike down the Affordable Care Act. The president says, President Trump says that he's going to protect people with pre-existing conditions, but he has not explained how he would do that. And that was one of the toughest nuts to crack when they were passing the Affordable Care Act. So tell us specifically, how would your administration protect Americans with pre-existing conditions to have access to affordable insurance if the Affordable Care Act is struck down?
Well, thank you, Susan. But let me just say, addressing your very first question, I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it. And this is another one of those cases where there's such a dramatic contrast. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth.
Yep.
Late-term abortion. They
If it
want to
can
increase
survive-
funding to Planned Parenthood.
If it can survive
of
on its
America.
own, you do
Now, for our part,
not
I would never
mess with it.
presume how Judge Amy Coney Barrett would rule on the Supreme Court of the United States, but we'll continue to stand strong for the right to life. When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett...
Oh, here it is, here it is, here it
I
is.
mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe
We'll
Biden
see
has
answer it.
refused to
We'll see
the
answer
question.
it.
So I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to
Is he gonna dodge?
pack the
Dodge,
Supreme
dodge,
Court to
dodge
get
like
your
my
way?
truck.
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more.
Oh.
In 1864.
Well, I'd like you to answer the
No,
question.
no.
Vice President,
Lady, we don't go back to
speaking.
1860.
Okay.
Now.
In 1864.
Are you going to? No. Are you going
one of
to?
the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the president, I assume if you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election. And it was 27 days before the election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land. And so Joe and I are very clear. The American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision about who will serve on this most important body for a lifetime.
Thank you,
And the
Senator
American
Harris.
people, Susan,
She
are
just
voting
dodged
right
more
now.
than
They'd
my
like to know
Dodge
if you and Joe
1500
Biden are
pickup
gonna
truck.
pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about
You
packing.
once
Come
again
on,
gave a
She won't.
non-answer.
Here she
Joe
goes.
Biden gave a non-answer.
trying to answer you.
He's
now.
not
People deserve
packing.
a
Trump
straight
is doing
answer.
legally.
If you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election. Men and
Mr.
women,
Vice President,
I got to
I
tell you,
think
If
people
they
across
say
this
they won't
country, if you
pack it, they
cherish our
lose
Supreme
the
Court,
far,
if
far
you cherish the
lefties.
separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris ticket. Come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll
Agreed,
stand by that
Robert.
separation of powers in a 9-seat
The Constitution does
Yeah,
not
let's talk
allow
about
for Roe
packing the
versus
court
Wade,
then.
and I am not
Let's talk about
pro-abortion.
the
Please.
pack. Yeah,
Remember
I'm
that, guys.
about to.
It's states'
So,
rights.
The Trump-Pence administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I've witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black?
So
This is
what?
what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing
Why
the
is this?
court?
Why
Let's
is this
have that
litmus test
discussion.
say somebody has to be
All right,
black?
Thank you, Senator.
you don't
Let's go
nominate
on and talk
somebody as
about
black,
the
you're in
issue
trouble.
of racial justice.
It should
I
be
just want the
nominate
record
the
reflect she
best
never answered the
people.
question. So the American
I don't
people,
give a
maybe the
rat's
next
ass
debate,
what
Joe
color,
Biden will answer the question.
Thank you.
but I think the
race,
American
shape.
people
I don't
will
care if you're
Thank
a
you, Vice
cat if
President.
you can do the job.
In March, Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old emergency room technician in Louisville, was shot and killed after police officers executing a search warrant in a narcotics
Buddy.
investigation broke into her apartment. The police said they identified themselves. Taylor's boyfriend said he didn't hear them do that. He used a gun registered to him to fire a shot, which wounded an officer. The officers then fired more than 20 rounds into the apartment. They say they were acting in self-defense.
Shot a
None of them
cop.
have been indicted in connection with her death. Senator Harris,
Shot
in
a
the case
cop.
of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes.
I don't believe so. And
They
I've
shot
talked with
first and
Breonna's
shot
mother,
a
Tamika Palmer,
flippin' cop.
and her family. And her family
Breonna
deserves
Taylor was
justice.
not a
She's
good
beautiful
person.
young
Look
woman.
up her history.
She had as her life goal to become a nurse, and she wanted to become
She
an EMT to
dated
first
drug
learn
dealers,
what's
multiple
going on
drug dealers.
out on the street, so she could then
She also has a criminal
become a nurse
record
and
of her
save
own.
lives. And her life was taken unjustifiably and tragically and violently. And it brings me to, the 8 minutes and 46 seconds that America witnessed, during which an American man was tortured and killed under the knee of an armed, uniformed police officer. And people around our country of every race,
By the way, he didn't die from the
every
foot, the knee on the
age,
neck. It was
every
badly
gender,
done.
perfect
The
strangers to each
cop is
other,
being charged.
marched,
The guy died because he
shoulder to
OD'd on his
shoulder,
own
arm in
drug
arm,
stash. Look it up, everybody.
fighting
That didn't get reported on.
for us to finally
He
achieve
died because
that
he
ideal
stuffed
of
his
equal
own
justice
flipping
under
drugs
law.
down his
And I was
throat.
a part of those
Enough to
peaceful
kill a
protests.
horse.
And I believe strongly
And so
that,
what?
first of all, we are
One
never going to
white cop
condone
kills
violence,
one
but
black
we
guy.
always
How about when
must
black people are
fight
killing black people? Why doesn't that
for
count?
the
When a black
values
person
that we
kills a
hold
white
dear,
person or a white
including
cop.
the fight to achieve our ideals.
Leave
And that's why
race
Joe Biden and I
alone.
said on this subject, look, and I'm a former career prosecutor. I know what I'm talking about. Bad cops are bad for good cops. We need reform of our policing in America and our criminal justice system, which is why Joe and I will immediately ban chokeholds and carotid holds. George Floyd would be alive today if we did that. We will require a national registry for police officers who break the law. We will, on the issue of criminal justice reform, get rid of private prisons and cash bail, and
Thank
we
you.
will decriminalize marijuana.
You get rid of
and we
cash
will-
bail?
we will
Holy
expunge
shoot,
the
you're gonna be
records of
letting
those
people out like New
convicted
York has
convicted
done.
Of marijuana.
Crime rate
This
goes
is
through the
time
roof,
for
just like San
leadership
Francisco.
on a tragic issue.
Senator Harris,
of unarmed
Democrat
black people in
utopias,
America
everybody.
who have
Thank you,
been
Senator
killed.
Harris.
Remember,
Vice
in
President
San
Pence, let me
Francisco
pose
and
the
most
same
of California, you
question
can
to you.
steal up to
In the
$1,000
case of
bucks and they
Breonna
can't call the
Taylor,
cops on you.
Was justice done? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
And that is fact. A lot of people do not realize that. You can steal $999
Well, our heart
worth of stuff
breaks
from a store, and
the
the
loss of
cops
innocent-
will not
any
come.
innocent American life. And the family of Breonna Taylor has our sympathies. But I trust our justice system, a grand jury that refused the evidence. And it really is remarkable that as a former prosecutor, you would assume that an impaneled grand jury.
By the
looking
way,
at all
anybody
the
just
evidence
notice
got
she
it
was
wrong.
pissing on our
But
justice
I'm
system
entitled to your opinion.
when she
Sorry.
was a huge
think-
part of that justice system?
And with regard to George Floyd,
Remember, she was a
there's no excuse for
prosecutor
what happened to George Floyd. And justice
Who got
will be served.
censured for illegally
But there's
keeping
also
people in
no
jail.
excuse for the rioting and looting that followed. I mean, it really is astonishing. Flora Westbrook is with us here tonight in Salt Lake City. This few weeks ago, I stood at what used to be her salon. Was burned to the ground
Yeah.
by rioters.
Yeah, because
and
people,
looters.
she come out and spoke out against
and Flora
what
is still trying to
Pelosi
put
did. They
her
burned her
life back
salon
together.
down. That is
And I must tell you,
lefties.
this presumption.
I'm gonna say something here. I am talking over it purposely this time, but show me
that,
anywhere the group
that
of
America's
right-wingers
systemically
or
racist.
centrist libertarians
And that, as Joe Biden
burning
said,
down
he
and
believes
attacking
that
people
law
and
enforcement has an
killing.
implicit
Show me it.
bias against
Show me the
minorities.
right-wingers with guns out there doing this
Is
stuff.
a
The
great
only
insult.
left-wingers are.
To the men and women who
Done.
serve in law enforcement, and I want everyone to know who puts on the uniform of law enforcement every day, that President Trump and I stand with you. And it is remarkable that that when Senator Tim Scott tried to pass a police reform bill, brought together a group of Republicans and Democrats, Senator Harris, you got up and walked out of the room. And then you filibustered Senator Tim Scott's bill on the Senate floor that would have provided new accountability, new resources. Look, we don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement, improving public safety, and supporting our African American neighbors and all of our minorities. Under President Trump's leadership,
Thank you,
we'll
Vice President.
always
Here she
stand
tries
with
to
law
stop him when he
enforcement,
makes a
and we'll
point.
do what we've done
Vice
from
President
day
Pence,
one, and
thank
that
you.
is
Your
Shut
time
up,
is
the
lady.
lives of African Americans.
Thank you, Vice
Record
President Pence.
unemployment, record
Vice
investments in
President Pence, your time
education,
is
and we'll
up.
fight for school choice for all of our minorities.
Thank you, Vice
I'd
President.
like to respond.
Senator Harris.
I will not sit here and be lectured by the Vice President on what it means to enforce the laws of our country. I am
Yeah,
the only one
look
on
at
this
your
stage
record.
who was personally prosecuted, everything from child sexual assault to homicide. I'm the only one on this stage who has prosecuted the big banks for taking advantage of America's homeowners. I'm the only one on this stage who prosecuted for-profit colleges for taking advantage of our veterans. And the reality of this is that we are talking about an election in 27 days, where last week the President of the United States took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Not true.
And
Not true.
it wasn't like he didn't have a chance. He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he said, when pressed, stand back, stand by. And this is a part of a pattern of Donald Trump's. He called Mexicans rapists and criminals. He instituted as his first act a
You know, if
Muslim
cops
ban.
are really that
He,
bad
on the
against
issue of
African Americans,
Charlottesville,
then why are
where
African
people were
Americans per
peacefully
capita
protesting
being cops more
the
than
need
white
for
people and
racial
others?
justice, where a young
Per
woman
capita,
was
more
killed.
black people go to be
and
cops.
on the other side, there were neo-Nazis carrying tiki torches, shouting racial epithets, anti-Semitic slurs. And
Where?
Donald Trump, when asked about it, said
No, he didn't.
there were fine people on both sides. This is who we have as the President of the United States. And America, you deserve better. Joe Biden will be a president who brings our country together
Senator Harris.
and recognizes the beauty in our diversity and the fact that we
Senator
all
Harris,
have
thank
so
you.
much more in common than what separates us.
Vice President Pence, let me give you a minute to respond.
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that very much. You know, I think this is one of the things that makes people dislike the media so much in this country, Susan, is that you selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did, comments that President Trump and I and others on our side of the aisle make. I mean, Senator Harris conveniently omitted, after the president made comments about people on either side of the debate over monuments,
Yep,
he
monuments.
condemned
Good people, both
the
sides.
KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, and has done so repeatedly. You're concerned that he doesn't condemn neo-Nazis. President Trump has Jewish grandchildren. His daughter and son-in-law are Jewish. This is a president who respects and cherishes all of the American people. But you talk about having personally prosecuted. I'm glad you brought up your record, Senator.
Thank you.
But I really need to make this point. When you were DA in San Francisco, when you left office, African Americans were 19 times more likely to be prosecuted for minor drug offenses than whites and Hispanics. When you were Attorney
Thank you.
General of California,
Thank you,
you
Vice President.
increased the disproportionate incarceration of
Thank
blacks
you.
in California. You did nothing on criminal justice reform in California. You didn't lift a finger to
you.
pass the First Step Act on Capitol Hill. I mean, the reality is your record
Thank
speaks
you,
for
Vice
itself.
President
President
Pence.
Trump and I have fought for criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice President
We fought for
Pence.
educational choice and opportunities for African Americans, all of our
Thank you,
minorities.
sir.
And we'll do it for four.
Yeah,
Thank
guys,
you.
look up
You know,
the
there's
video
no
from the
more
Republican
important
convention
issue
out there,
than the final
Republican
issue
National
that we're going
Committee.
to talk about tonight, and that is the
On
issue
all the
of
people
election
talking,
itself.
asking
He
Trump over the
attacked
years
my
about
record. I
racism
would
and what
like
he's
an
been saying
opportunity to
about it.
respond.
Let me give you 30 seconds because we're running out of
I
time.
appreciate that. First of all, having served as the Attorney General of the state of California, the work
badly and
that
getting
I
in trouble
did
with the law
is
a bunch.
model of what our nation needs to do, and we will be able to do under a Joe Biden presidency. Our agenda includes what this administration has failed to do. It will be about not only instituting a ban on chokeholds and carotid holes.
Thank you.
Not only,
Thank you, Senator
I
Harris.
would like to go through,
These are points that you made earlier in the hour, and I want to talk about the election itself before we have to.
but I want to talk about the connection between what Joe and I will do and my record, which includes, I was the first statewide officer to institute a requirement that my agents would wear body cameras and keep them on full time. We were the first to initiate a requirement that there would be a training for law enforcement on implicit bias, because yes, Joe Biden and I
There is not
recognize
implicit
that
bias.
Implicit bias does
That
exist,
is
Mr. Vice
racist.
President, contrary to what
Saying
you may
that
believe.
cops have
We
implicit
did the work
bias?
of
What about all the
instituting
black
reforms
cops?
that
Do
were
they have
about
implicit
investing
bias
in
against
reentry.
blacks too?
This is the work that we
You
have done
piece
and the
of
work we will do
shit.
going forward. And again, I will not be lectured by the Vice
And
President.
the chick letting those people cheer in the
on our
background for her.
record
Hey,
of what
twat,
we have
you'll
done
be
in
lectured
terms
by
of law
him.
enforcement and keeping our communities safe.
Sorry, I'm
and a
pissed right
commitment
now.
to reforming the criminal justice system of
I
America.
know a lot of
Thank you,
cops. They are not
Senator Harris.
implicitly
I'd like to pose
biased
the
against
first-
blacks.
I'd like you to
I know
respond
black
first to
cops.
the
They're not
question on
biased
our
against
final
whites
topic,
either.
The election itself. President Trump has several times refused to
Budget
commit
pisses me
himself
off.
to a peaceful transfer of power after the
Oh,
election.
shut up.
If
They
your ticket
st-
wins
Oh.
and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what steps would you and Vice President Biden then take? What would happen next? You have 2 minutes.
So I'll tell you, Joe and I are, I think, particularly proud of the coalition that we've built around our campaign. We probably have one of the broadest coalitions of folks that you've ever seen in a presidential race. Of course, we have the support of Democrats, but also independents and Republicans. In
Oh,
fact,
Jim, how dare
7
you, you
members
dick.
of,
You
President
can't use
George
common
W. Bush's
sense,
cabinet
Jim.
are supporting our
These
ticket.
are snowflakes and
We
racist.
have the
Of course you
support
should allow them to fight the
of
cops
Colin
and then
Powell,
blame the cops.
Cindy McCain.
Damn it,
John
Jim, we
Kasich,
cannot use common sense.
over 500 generals, retired generals, and former national security experts and advisors are supporting our campaign.
Oh, yeah?
And I
How
believe
many
they
more
are doing
support
that
Trump?
because
Look
they
it up.
know that Joe
Every
Biden
military guy I know,
has a deep,
present and
deep-seated
past, supports
commitment
Trump.
to fight for our democracy and to fight for the integrity.
Like a friend of
our
mine, an ex-Marine,
democracy,
said,
and to
"Remember,
bring
the
integrity
generals
back
like
to the White
wars.
House." And so
grunts
we
do
believe
not.
in the American people. We believe in our democracy. And here's what I'd like to say to everybody. Vote. Please vote. Vote early. Come up with a plan to vote. Go to iwillvote.com. You can also go to joebiden.com. We have it within our power in these next 27 days
To cheat.
to make the decision about what will be the course of our country for the next 4 years. And it is within our power, and if we use our vote and we use
They've
our
already been
voice,
caught cheating on mail-in
we
ballots
will
in
win.
5 states.
and we will not let
You can
anyone
Google
subvert
that, or
our
not Google,
democracy
DuckDuckGo,
with
guys.
what Donald Trump has been doing, as he did on the debate stage last week,
There are
when
prosecutions
again
in
front of
5
70
states for
million
cheating.
people,
And it's Democrats.
he openly attempted to suppress the vote. Joe Biden, on the other hand, on that same debate stage, because clearly Donald Trump doesn't think he can run on a record because it's a failed record, Joe Biden on that stage said, hey, just please vote. So I'll repeat what Joe said. Please vote.
Thank you, Senator. Vice President Pence, President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election. If Vice President Biden is declared the winner and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what would be your role and responsibility as Vice President? What would you personally do? You have 2 minutes.
Well, Susan, first and foremost, I think we're going to win this election. Because while Joe Biden and Kamala Harris rattle off a long litany of the establishment in Washington, D.C., an establishment that Joe Biden's been a part of for 47 years, President Donald Trump has launched a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. And I have every confidence that those same Americans that delivered that historic victory in 2016, they see this president's record where we rebuild our military. We revived our economy through tax cuts and rolling back regulation, fighting
I
for
would
fair
dare
trade,
anybody show me how
unleashing
Trump's a
American
racist
energy.
when he's done more
We
and
appointed
sexist.
conservatives to our
when he's
federal courts at every
gotten
level.
more jobs for
And
women
we stood with
and
the
people
men
of
and women
color
of law
in this
enforcement
country
every
than in,
single day. And
than in ever
I think
in
that
history.
movement of Americans has only grown stronger in the last 4 years.
Hey,
When you talk
Jennifer,
about
have a good
accepting
one.
the outcome of the election, I must tell you,
And thank you,
Senator,
Jennifer.
your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election. It's amazing. when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, the FBI actually spied on President Trump and my campaign. I mean, there were documents released this week that the CIA actually made a referral to the FBI documenting that those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton campaign. And of course, we've all seen the avalanche, what you put the country through for the better part of 3 years until it was found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed. And then, Senator Harris, you and your colleagues in the Congress tried to impeach the President of the United States over a phone call. And now Hillary Clinton has actually said to Joe Biden that in her words, under no circumstances should he concede the election. So let me just say, I think we're going to win this election. President Trump and I are fighting every day in courthouses to prevent Joe Biden and Kamala Harris from changing the rules and creating this universal mail-in voting that'll create a massive
Pence is pretty
opportunity for
badass. If
voter
you look
fraud.
up his past, guys,
We have a free and fair
he's
election.
soft-spoken, but
We know
he's
we're gonna
dead
have confidence
on
in it. And I believe in all my
solid.
heart that President Donald Trump's going to be reelected for 4 more years.
You know, I've written all the questions that I've asked tonight, but for the final question of the debate,
Trump
I'd like
2020.
to read a question that someone else wrote.
And now I'll be sued by the
The
high
Utah
students.
Debate Commission asked students in the state to write essays about what they would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate with the question posed by Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th grader at Springville Junior High in Springville, Utah. And here's what she wrote, quote, "When I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Democrats and Republicans. When I watch the news, all I see is citizen fighting against citizen. When I watch the news, all I see are 2 candidates from opposing parties trying to tear each other down. If our leaders can't get along, how are the citizens supposed to get along?" And then she added, "Your examples could make all the difference to bring us together," end quote. So to each of you in turn, I'd like you to take 1 minute and respond.
Okay,
to
this is a
Brecklin.
loaded
Vice
question
President Pence, you have 1 minute.
because show me what the
Brecklin, it's a
Democrats have
wonderful
done at
question.
all in the last 4 years.
And
Nothing except
let me just
stand in
commend
the
you for
way,
taking an interest
illegally
in
prosecute
public
Trump
life.
for something they knew that Hillary did.
I started following
They
the news when I was
impeached, they've
very
done
young.
nothing.
And in
Only
America,
one side has been
we believe in a
goddamn
free
nasty.
and open exchange of debate. And we celebrate that. And it's how we've created literally the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world. But I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice who we just lost from the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States, one very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her passing was the 2 of them and their families were the very closest of friends. I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have on this stage tonight. But when the debate is over, we come together as Americans. And that's what people do in big cities and small towns all across this country. So
Anybody
I just wanna
notice the
encourage you,
rainbow
Brecklin.
flag is
I
still
wanna
in
tell you
Google's
that,
emojis,
we're
but
gonna
not
work
the
every day
American
to have
flag?
government as good as our people. And the American people each and every day love a good debate. We love a good argument. But we always come together and are always there for one another
Thank you,
in
Vice
times of
President.
need. And we've especially learned that
Thank you,
through
Mr.
the
Vice President.
And
difficulties.
she's
of
not
this
even
year.
letting get his closing statement.
Senator Harris, what would you say to Brecklin?
First of all, I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future
Well,
is bright.
Jim, you guys gave us
because
somebody really good.
It is that perspective on who we are and who we should be that is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that, that brings me to Joe. Joe Biden, one of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president is after
how many times has he
Charlottesville,
run,
which we talked
dude?
about earlier.
Bunch. And he's
It
lost
so
every time
troubled
because he
him
gets
and
caught
upset him like it did all
lying.
of us, that there was that kind of hate and division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening. Joe has a long-standing reputation of working across the aisle, and working in a bipartisan way. And that's what he's going to do as president. Joe Biden has a history of lifting people up and fighting for their dignity. You mean you have to know Joe's story to know that Joe has known pain, he has known suffering, and he has known love. And so, Brecklin, when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because of your leadership, and it will be because we fight for each person's voice through their vote, and we get engaged in this election because you have the ability through your work and through eventually your vote
Thank you,
to
Senator Harris.
determine the future of our country and what its leadership looks like.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Thank you, Vice President Pence. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We want to thank also the University of Utah for its hospitality, and most of all, our thanks to all the Americans who watched this debate
How about
tonight.
this?
Again, our best
How
wishes
about
for a quick
Trump's
recovery
daughter
to
for
President
2024?
Trump, the
Let's
First
get that
Lady,
first
and
female
everyone
president
who
and
is
have it be a
battling
Trump and really watch
COVID-19.
him explode.
The second presidential
And I don't
debate
like
is next
dynasties in the
week
White
on
House, but
October
still.
15th.
Can you
a town hall
imagine the
style
heads
debate
exploding?
in Miami. We hope you'll join us then. Good evening.
Look at Kamala's derisive look. Pence is very classy. Kamala makes Trump seem like he's dead on nice guy. Choice isn't even clear to me. It's totally clear to me, I mean. Yeah, exactly, Jay, but they're gonna try they're gonna try to extend this. They're already ready for court battles. And I do believe Trump's gonna win. Oh, look at him wave. Look at Kamala's face. Pence is like, you'll mind, bitch. Finish her. Fatality. Mortal Kombat. Sorry. Boy, there's a cuck if you ever seen one. I bet her husband does not even get to wear the balls in that household at all. How can you be married to somebody that lies like that? Ugh. Yeah. Well, they were debating, so I'm okay with them not wearing masks. But yeah, if they're going to be two-faced. All right, guys, let me remove this. And we'll talk a second or two if you guys want. Or do you want to look and see if they got any chatting after it on here? I know Fox News would, but I'm not on Fox News because they can get a little weird once in a while now. They have their new people controlling it. So let's let that run. All right, let me see here. Let's see. Let's watch for a minute, see if I can talk. Yeah. I couldn't imagine if he, how you can be married to somebody that lies like that. I mean, it's a fact. It's actual fact. You can look it up. That she illegally kept a bunch of prisoners in jail.
And now it's time to get your
Once you
reaction
knew they were
to the
innocent,
vice
just
presidential
to
debate.
have
Here's
workers
how
in the
you
jail
can
and
do it.
hype
The numbers
up her
are on the screen.
record.
202 is the area code. If you
DNA
support
testing
the
showed
Trump
she had people on
ticket,
death row that she kept there knowing they were innocent.
748-8920 is the number for you to
So
call in.
how do
on.
you be married to
If you're
somebody like
supporting the Biden-Harris ticket, 748-8921.
Harris Biden.
If you are supporting somebody else or truly undecided, we want to hear from you as well. 202-748-8922.
Harris Biden ticket.
Now, if you can't get through on the phone lines and still want to make a comment,
The only people voting for
try
them are ones that
texting
listen to her lies and Joe's
Include
lies
your
without
first
looking
name
up the
and your
actual
city, if you
facts of
would.
what was said.
202-748-8903.
How about all Joe's lies?
8903, and we'll
All his
begin
racist
taking
comments.
those calls in just a minute.
Yes, Robert,
But let's
she
check
was.
in with Greta Bronner first.
All right, I'm gonna mute.
Before we get to our viewers' reaction,
here we
some
go.
reaction from political
All right, you
reporters
guys, give me
to
thumbs up.
tonight's
You want to
vice
watch for
presidential
viewer
debate. Michael
reactions
C.
or just
Bender
stop
with
and
the Wall
do some
Street
chatting
Journal.
between us?
The opening questions
Let me
for
know which
Pence
way you wanna
have been
go.
right down the middle
You
from
wanna
Susan
stay for some
Page,
reaction or
but
go for
even
chat
so,
between
just
us? Just
brutal.
let us
Hard to
hammer it
think
out,
of
'cause I
a
think we're
tougher
smarter than them.
question for a VP has had to field in the opening minutes of a debate, and he tweets the quote from his colleague Rebecca Ballhaus, who's the White House correspondent for the Wall Street Journal. The question,
Hey,
how
by the
can
way,
you
at the
expect
White
Americans
House,
to
they
follow
test
the
everybody
administration's
multiple
safety
times.
guidelines to
The
protect
fact this thing
themselves
got
from
through
COVID when you at
is
the White
crazy.
House have not been doing so? The first question to the vice president.
I don't know about that,
And
Robert.
Kenneth
I
Vogel
wish.
with
I think it's
Washington
going to be
Post, Susan Page's
semi-close.
Questions so far
And
are
that's what worries
incredibly
me.
incisive,
If it's
cutting but
close-ish,
fair, and she was
there's going to
doing
be
a great
ballots
job
popping
controlling
up
the debate,
for
though, of course,
weeks,
it's a lot
maybe
easier to
even
control
months after
Pence
this
and
election.
Harris
They're
than
going to try to
control
steal
the
this. They really
president.
are. And I know
And
I don't
Ashley
really get that close to
Parker
the
with the
microphone.
Washington Post, and now again, Pence is literally
And yes,
ignoring the
Jay
question
Watterson,
he was
she
asked.
did.
A
There
discussion
are
with
books
Trump
out
about having to
documenting
take over
how
the
she
presidency to
threw
answer a
herself on her
question of
knees
his
and on her
choice.
back to get into
Unclear if
politics
this will
and get where
irk
she was.
voters or if it's savvy debate strategy. We'll note that Senator Harris was
Yeah,
asked a
Joker,
similar
I was doing a
question.
little
She
timing
also
off and
did
on.
not answer it.
And even later in the
then Ed
debate, it got
O'Keefe
even
with
worse, where
CBS
she
News
got
says
easily
notable
3 to 4
that Susan
times more
Page
time.
asks Kamala Harris to explain what's up with the Green New Deal. The senator never mutters those 3 words and never explicitly says that the Biden plan is or isn't the Green New Deal.
No, but Biden did.
And John Bresnahan of Politico, Pence gets asked a climate change question.
Biden
Talks
said
about
they were gonna do
taxes
the Green New
and
Deal, then he
fracking.
went back on it.
Asked about health care. Pence talks about fracking. And Peter Hamby says almost every answer in this debate is about Pennsylvania, referring
hey, I got
to
something
the
for you
fracking
guys.
question. And
All right,
finally,
so what do you
Emily
guys think?
Holden
What do you guys
writes
think?
for
Do
The
you want to
Guardian
stay
in
here
the
and listen to
United
these
States.
people, or
She
you want to go
says,
talk to
for what
ourselves?
it's worth,
Or about
the
our,
president,
between ourselves?
any president,
I do have
couldn't
something to
really
put in
ban
here for you
fracking
guys, too.
even if they wanted
Let me see
to.
if I add
Turns
source
out
here. I'm probably going
Congress
to pop
is
up
in
and play.
charge, is
So I'm
still
going
in
to
charge of
mute
some
her
stuff.
just a second here.
Well-
If I can. There, I'm going to mute her. Actually, I'm going to take that off for right now. I got something I want to show you. Remember what she said, how they didn't say this? Watch this.
My family lives in western Pennsylvania.
Now, here we go, guys.
My
Listen to
family
this.
lives in western Pennsylvania, where fracked gas wells have become a common sight. Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Oh!
So, yes,
Don't! Wait a minute, wait a minute.
there's no question I'm in favor of.
Fracking your first day in office.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah.
Right there. You lied. You just lied. Just like Biden did. There are videos out there like this showing how Biden said he was going to ban fracking and all fossil fuels. She lied. Busted, bitch. Come back from that. Lied. Well, I don't know if I can pull up Fox without getting in trouble, guys. Sometimes they'll let you do that, sometimes not. Hang on here. Let me see if I can do anything with that. I'm not going to mess. Somehow they're saying my stream's bitrate is lower suddenly. I don't know why. Hang on here. Let me see if I can pull Fox News up. But I don't know if they're going to let me. Because they can get a little weird. Hey, Sarge, what's up? Let me see. I just thought I'd show you that because Kamala totally lied right there. Busted, you bitch. All the American people should look at that. Busted. Big lie. Let's see. See if it's going to come up. Oops, hey. You shouldn't have done that. What'd you do that for? No, I wanted to search on YouTube. Come on. Let's see. I don't think it's going to give me a live reaction. It's not going to let me watch it here. If I play it on my TV behind me, that does get me in trouble. Yeah, it's not going to let me put Hannity up. Yeah, they're not going to let me play Hannity. And if I do, I try it, I might get nipped. So I prefer not to get nailed. All right, let me see here. Let's... I just thought I'd play this because, I'm sorry, this is so damning to me right here. I'm sorry, I'm going to play it again. Just everybody hammer that lie into everybody's head. It's a biggie.
My family lives in western Pennsylvania, where fracked gas wells have become a common sight. Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah.
All right, she lied. Deal. Done, solved. That's only one of the lies. Okay. But yeah, guys, if you want to go check out Hannity or somebody else, yes, feel free. I just, I don't think I can play it because they're a little squirrely about what they do and do not let you do. So, how you do? Okay, guys, so what'd you think? Make the WWE, WWF again. Oh, I'm with you, Jay. I still call it the WWF. Fire Sarge, how you doing, my friend? Chat between ourselves. Okay. That's what Robert wants to do. All right, guys. So what did you think? No problem, Dawn. What do you guys think? I mean, did it change your mind any? I know a lot of you guys here seem pretty either centrist or right-leaning. Did it change your mind a bit? It did not change mine. Didn't change mine at all. Because of my health problem, I have a lot of time to read, watch videos. I've read full statements. I've read testimonies from the Congress. I've seen a bunch of government documentation, like Judicial Watch releases, everything. It didn't change my mind at all. I am a little shocked at how much, once again, another moderator bends towards the Biden-Harris side. And how, okay, if they wanted these fact-checking against Trump and Pence, why wasn't that moderator fact-checking Harris when I, in a 3-second search on YouTube, found a big, huge lie that she repeated over and over again tonight? Seriously. Not too bad, Sarge. So maybe, possibly, guys, there might be a Fire Joker stream, Fire Sarge Joker Nation stream this Friday. By the way, guys, depending on what they're talking about, that could get frisky also. Robert's really being optimistic at 538-0. I don't think they'll ever flip New York and California, but we can always hope. Even though I do see there's a lot of Trump signs in California really pissing some poor little lefties off. Anybody know why we do not want the Electoral College deleted? A lot of the Democrats are pushing for eliminating the Electoral College. Do you know why we do not want that deleted? Some people do not. The Electoral College, if we delete that, that means that New York and California will rule just because of population density. That's exactly what they want. Let's see. Yeah, Buckle Bunny, we are still getting smoke in the air here. There's times where even though it's nicer out, I have to close our windows because of my lungs. I can't do it. We still get smoke in the atmosphere here. It's making some really cool sunsets, but oof. And that's clear here in the Iowa, Illinois area. Jay Watterson, when she heard fracking, she thought it meant certain acts she feels she no longer needs to do to advance her career. Ow. Ooh. Anybody else just feel a chill around Jay's comment? Oh, man. You guys were doing so good earlier. I thought I was going to get my oxygen unit on. Oh, Lord. I don't want to run the battery down before I use the treadmill tonight. Yeah, exactly, Corkboard. The Electoral College ensures that all states, everybody's vote gets to count. If you eliminate it, all that means is majority rule, and that's not the way we're supposed to work. And it's not just majority, but it's just 2 states out of 50. Maybe even 3, but like California, New York, and Illinois. You'd have 3 states telling all 50 and the territories what to do. How representative is that as the country? It's not. It's only representative of like 2, maybe 3 zones of the whole country. And people in New York and California don't know what's good for people in Oklahoma or Iowa or anything else. They don't care. Oh, crap. Jim. Oh, God. Oh, Jim. That is why you were the first moderator here. Holy crap. I agree, Jim. And like I said, guys, the lies, and a lot of you caught the lies. A lot of you were catching her lies because you paid attention. The lies she threw out. You could see Pence's face. He knew it was coming. The lies she threw out that Trump said there were nice people on the side of the Triple K Ranch and the other people there. Not who he was talking about. And if you go look at the full video, it's not who he was talking about. Didn't change my mind. I'll always vote Republican. Well, be careful, Robert. This year may be the first year I vote a straight Republican ticket. I'm having a hard time finding anybody in my area, in my elections, who I would vote for on the left. Sorry about the Band-Aid. My medication has helped my lungs a lot, but it causes insane level of like deep acne that I didn't have even as a teenager. The Band-Aid's got some Neosporin helping that. But yeah, that's crazy. I didn't have this when I was 17. But yeah, the forest fires, blaming the forest fires on Trump. You were all laughing at that. But if you go look at satellite imagery, the forest fires go straight up to the Canadian border and stop right at the border. I mean, they stop. You barely have a twinkle going over. Because Canada, even with other lefty problems up there, are still doing forestry management. Our West Coast stopped doing forestry management long ago. And by the way, 23 people were caught lighting fires out west, and they were all BLM and Antifa members. Barely got any news coverage. You can look that up. Yeah, corkboard. Yeah, I've heard that from other Canadians up there, that you guys really need something like the Electoral College, and that's why you can't get rid of certain bad actors up there, because the two lefty nut groups are the ones that are ruling. So yeah, you guys do need an Electoral College. And Rich is right. Yes, if we eliminate the Electoral College, most states, Iowa, Nebraska, Nevada, Idaho, you name it, Georgia, Alabama, a lot of them will never have a say. And you cannot tell me somebody in New York has any crap connection with anybody in Alabama or Mississippi. So no, we need the Electoral College. Yeah, Canada isn't burning. Canada knows how to manage forestry still, because they're not bunny hugging that nuts up there. Yeah, and Jim, and anybody, I know we talked about this a little bit. I mentioned it in the chat in my big mouth. They're not running Joe Biden. If he wins, within 6 months, he steps down, maybe a year maximum, and she is going to be president. Then you got to worry about who her VP is going to be. Probably AOC or Pelosi. Look that crap up. There's no way Biden, with his lemon-headed self, is going to be able to hang on to the presidency. The whole plan is to get her in there. And then she is going to choose somebody as equally radical to be her VP. Well, Robert, Reagan, Mondale was a horrible candidate. Even as a mostly a centrist guy, I can say Mondale was horrible. Reagan was a good idea, but the problem is Reagan made good speeches, but if you look at Reagan's policies, he actually did a lot of the opposite of what he said was a good thing to do. Reagan grew the government insanely huge under him, yet kept saying small government's best. Once again, I am pretty much a centrist. Oh, Don, yeah. Even a lot of lefties admit. I know some lefties that admit, yeah, they're running Harris. It's not Biden. And if she gets in her, if she becomes president, she's going to be able to get a VP. She gets a VP pick. So without running for that first term. So it could be AOC, it could be Pelosi, it could be Bernie. You will have communists in the White House. And remember, AOC admits she's a Democrat socialist. Socialists are communists. They are one. Notice how Harris ever attacked Pence. Always directed. Yeah. Oh, yeah, corkboard. She can't attack Pence. Pence is so solid. She had nothing. And I said it before the debate started. Her whole fallback was going to be orange man bad. Hey, no problem, Joker. Now, the biggest one that pissed me off is them attacking Trump, saying, he didn't do anything about this virus. He let us die. He did stuff so early after a few deaths. He closed down the borders. He declared a national emergency. And every Democrat, show me a single Democrat that agreed with him. Every goddamn Democrat was out there calling him a racist, saying he was jumping the gun, it was too early. He was scaring people when he didn't need to. The CDC said it. CNN, MSNBC, they all said it. Biden, Kamala, all of them. Yet now they say he didn't do anything early enough. And lefties will not go look at the video out there of them totally saying he didn't need to do what he did. Crap. Lying crap. And people like people in my family will eat that up without going and looking at the facts of the videos. Sorry. I really am worried. I know I don't want to scare people or be a tinfoil hat person, but I am scared for the country if Biden and Harris won this somehow, or Harris-Biden. The plans they are enacting and who's controlling them, oof. This is the government fighting back for you voting for somebody that wasn't of the government. If Harris-Biden win, I'd give Ghislaine Maxwell 72 hours before she commits suicide by shooting herself in the back of the head twice. Yes. She right now is going, oh my God, Trump better win. Yeah, she's dead if Trump loses. She is DEAD. Ugh. Well, problem is, Corkbird, AOC is open. She actually says she's a Democrat socialist. And that is a branch of the Democrat Party now. Democrat Socialist Party. Her and the squad are all Democrat socialists. That is communist. Socialism is communism. My problem is, and I'm probably going to make a video talking about this, as annoyed as I am with Biden and Harris, I afford special loathing, bordering on a hatred for another person that a lot of people haven't thought of. Jill Biden. That piece of crap is parading around her husband, who is mentally deficient and everybody knows it. He's screwed up 3 times in the last week. Horribly again. Not little screw-ups. Horridly. He even said something racist the other day about little girls dancing at 4 years old and wanting to see them. You got to see the clip. It's really weird. It's head-sniffing weird. But I am so pissed at Jill. She knows her husband is deficient. She knows he's soft. She knows they're going to drug him to get him up there. Come on, they call an end to his campaigning day at 9:30 a.m. a lot of days. He can't handle nothing. But she is willing to screw her husband over for power to get him up there. If my wife was like that or I was like that, neither of us would do that to the other. She is sticking him up there. I mean, what a turd she is. She should, you marry somebody, you say you love them, you do not stick their deficient butt up there like that. And nobody can argue he's deficient. He is. All you got to do is look at the lies and the dang gaffes he's made. I can do this here. I'm an idiot. I got the brains of this empty tin can. Yet I can talk up here and make less gaffes than him. Or if I do make them, they sure aren't confusing 47 years in Congress with 180 years in Congress. So how can that man be president when my moron butt can do this better than him? But yeah, Jill Biden is a turd, in my opinion. Something is wrong, and wow. Somebody did not read her wedding vows or she married for power. Yeah, I don't understand the word progressive, because they seem to be the opposite. Yeah, I don't know why, what is it about her that she thinks it's okay to throw her husband to the wolves like this? Think about when he loses. I want to see what happens when he loses. I'm going to say he's going to lose. I want to see what happens to him when he loses. I'll bet they're going to come out within months. I'll stretch out. Say in the first year, suddenly you're going to come out and find out he has dementia. You watch. They're going to admit it. He has dementia or Alzheimer's after he loses. The first year that's going to come out. And then there's sooner or later the history's going to come out that yes, he was on drugs. That's why Trump said he would take a drug test. And Biden said no. Bunny, I agree, but man, his wife. And you will see now she doesn't let certain people ask questions of him. And she'll pull him back. And oh yeah. I think we're looking at maybe maybe Biden isn't going to be the president. Maybe it's Jill. Maybe Jill is the Biden you're voting for you lefties, not you guys. Hey, if you are here and you're voting for Biden, hey, more power to you. I may not agree with you, but hey, if you believe it, I'm sorry you're deficient or uneducated, but at least you're out there to vote, maybe. Well, badly, but hey. Progressive, the word damn you're using a lot. I agree. They are, and I don't like it. She still refused to answer her packing the court. I know Jay Watterson, Rich, a bunch of you cost that. She didn't answer. I know Dawn said something right away. Dawn's like, hey, wait a minute. What does that have to do with Lincoln or anything? Oh, yeah, Bunny. They're nuts. I'll bet you within a year when Biden loses, they're going to come out and mention he had dementia or Alzheimer's. And if he wins, if not, if the power isn't turned over to Kamala, Jill's going to be running that White House. Jill Biden. Look at the crap she does. She's doing more interviews than Joe is. We're not voting for her. Well, the bad thing is, Fire Sarge, a lot of people don't see him as ill. They think he's fine. They think all the gaffes are just, they're just spaced out and people can make it. No. I live stream. Rich live streams. Corkboard live streams. Joker live streams. Fire Sarge live streams. We are just average, everyday, blue-collar Joes out there live streaming, and we do not make the screw-up mistakes that he does. Millions of YouTubers out there from all around the world can do this off the cuff without screwing the pooch like he does with a teleprompter in his face, let alone off the teleprompter. That is a man that cannot be president. When I look at Corkboard and go, you know what? He has more brains and can be president more than this guy. That is a man that should not be president. I'm not picking on Corkboard. I'm just saying, he can off the cuff more than a guy that's running for president. That's scary. It should scare everybody. If you cannot off the cuff, like I am right here in my sci-fi toy room, an auto mechanic with a third of his lungs left, if you can't out-talk me here and not screw the pooch every 2 seconds, if you're being fed things through earpieces and teleprompters, you do not get the nuclear foosball. You are an idiot. Man. I do not understand. I'm going to admit I do not understand the people voting for Biden, except for a lot of them are just, I don't like Trump. That's not a good reason to vote for somebody president. I know a lot of people that don't like Trump but are voting for him because they don't care how they feel about him personally. They look at his job performance. And I cannot wait until these people, let's just say, holy crap, rainbow unicorn Skittleland, ba-ding, happens, and Biden wins. These people are going to really feel screwed when he destroys our economy, and they're a lot worse off now than their snowflake asses already are. Especially if they try to come take our guns. I'm sorry, but people aren't going to give them up to Beto. It's not happening. And I'm sorry, lefties, most of you are against firearms, and you do not have any. And the military ain't going to back you near the police. It's not going to happen. Bunny. And Bunny, if it was just that bad, just CRS, I like that, by the way. If it was just that, I could maybe handle him, people voting for him. But you can see he's deficient. I mean, come on. The God thing? The thing. Dude. He conflated being in Congress 47 years to being in there 180. That's not oops, I switched my numbers around to 74 gaff. That number came flying out of a rhinoceros's ass in North Dakota. Screw coming out of his butt. What part of the ether did he pull that out of? He said he went to I went to a historic black college. They come out and said, no, he didn't. He never went here. Yet people ignore this crap. Ugh. Agreed, Sarge. Agreed totally, man. Nobody's going to give him up, and the police won't make you. All the police are backing Trump. The military backs Trump. There's no way if Biden wins, they're gonna come around taking people's firearms. All right, guys, what else do you want to talk about? If I got a little more time here. If you want to be end of the stream, that's fine. If you want to keep discussing, you got some topics from the debate or even from, what's going on in the election in general. Feel free to toss it out, or the country. So, yeah. But see, Bunny, the problem is, can't remember shit is one thing, but being obviously deficient and a liar mixed. He's a liar and he's deficient. Oof. Robert, that's an oldie but a goodie, isn't it? Screw the pooch. I also use snapper heads and jack nuggets a lot. Snapper heads. Yeah, I'm sorry. Kamala is a total snapper head. As Jay Watterson mentioned a couple times, and it's not anything she can lie about or say anything. It's been proven. She got her career going in politics by spending a lot of time on her knees and on her back. And the politicians she did it with have documentation and some stuff to prove it. And she can't even argue it. Yeah, I know! Fire Surge! Here's something. Fire Sarge brings up a point here that I've been trying to hammer home for a long time with a lot of people I know. Okay, when white, not all white, it was a mix. It was deadly mixed, if you look. When people marched in the capital of Michigan with their firearms and they were conservatives, people threw a fit. Oh my God, it's crazy. They're gonna be violence and they're gonna start a revolution. Nothing happened. Nobody was hurt. Nobody did anything illegal. Nobody even left a mess. Yet these NFAC guys have now shot a bunch of their people in their own events. And they're out walking along the street, assaulting white people in their cars with their weaponry. They're carrying it, going up, getting in people's faces, white people's cars, and stopping them on the highway and saying they owe reparations and all this crap. Imagine that being reversed. Imagine that was Trump supporters doing that to black folk or just any lefties they don't agree with. The fact that nobody is hammering these people for doing this, obviously racist and illegal. You don't get to go threaten somebody with your firearm in your hands. You do not. I have concealed carry. You do not get to have that gun out and walk up and get in somebody's face. You do not. And they are allowing them to do so. And these NFAC guys they're shooting themselves. They're so dumb. I'm going to tout another YouTube channel here because I'm not here to collect adoration numbers or anything. Go look up a channel called Hard Country. The guy and look up his videos on the NFAC guys. He debunks like the gun going off on its own. You bang, it doesn't happen. All it does is chamber around. I have a concealed carry that is striker fired. There's no safeties except in the middle of the trigger. It's a military assault pistol. It's used by militaries in other countries. And you can bang this thing and it will not go off. When you open the border, winter is coming. Nope, no Canadians allowed this year. Hey, corkboard, maybe after the election. Robert, we had unemployment rate of 3.9 under Trump, lowest in history. Yes. And the thing is, we're already back to where it was when Obama got out of office. We just went through the biggest illness in the country and maybe in the world's history behind, the Middle Ages. And yet our unemployment is already back to where it was under the end of Trump and the end of Biden and Biden. And by the way, the moderator lied. The job growth hasn't stalled. It's slowed a little. Look up the numbers. It's slowed a little. It hasn't stalled. She lied. I said multiple times, where was the fact checking on the moderator? It's like Chris Wallace, that turd. She was definitely hiding in the back of the USS Pander Prize there. Because there is some warp 9 lying and stupidity going on. Captain Biden up there sniffing the girls. Yeah. Oh. Dirty Work, 1998. Good movie. Yes, 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 Robert. This last shooter was arrested for being a felon in possession of a firearm. These guys. I don't know. I'm just waiting, and I said this during the debate. Show me anywhere a conservative, centrist, or libertarian group out there doing any of this. None of it's being done by them. It's all lefties. It's all the lefties out there throwing a fit. And I'm going to blame a lot of you parents out there who didn't spank your kids, ground your kids, or teach them the universe didn't revolve around their little lazy asses. This is the everybody gets a trophy generation. And they're all lefties. Oh man, Jay Watterson, if you guys have not seen Hard Country or Heavy Country, I know I'm messing up his channel. Look the guy up on YouTube. He did some videos on an FAAC guy shooting themselves a while back, totally debunking how the gun went off. Oh, what a load of crap. Yeah, Sarge. Bullpup. Yeah, I agree, Sarge. And I'm not as into guns as some of you military guys. I never got in the military, but I grew up in the country. We were shooting at age 5. I carried guns through the forest with me because we had wild dogs and coyotes and animals. And if I went through at night, we had to have them. So yeah. Also, when he slammed closed the breech and claimed it would make the weapon fire. Exactly, Sarge, that's the one. And the guy on Heavy Country proved that's wrong. He's like, watch. Bam! All it does is chamber around. If your firearm goes off by doing that, you done got a problem with that firearm. Actually, you're lying because it won't happen. They're not made that way. And corkboard, no, you can't. You can't fly in. I'm going to call them on you. Watch out for this corkboard guy. He's smuggling in Canadian hummingbirds. Oh. He's smuggling in Canadian weather. Make him stop. Keep your weather up there on the other side of the border. Too bad our border can't stop the Canadian weather as well as the Canadian border seems to be able to stop the forest fires. So I guess global warming then, Kamala, isn't happening in Canada? Only America? Just saying. Forest fires stop right at the border. Strange how that is. Oh, man, guys. I don't know. Ugh. I don't understand these people. I understand half of my family who's voting for him. For Biden and Kamala. And of course, I've honestly told you, this part of my family will not watch videos. I'll send my family whole videos. I go, here's the whole video, what was said. And they won't look. Well, that could just be made up. I go, no, the clips you're looking at are edited clips. You're looking at a 4-second clip out of a 3-minute answer. Smuggling in myself. No. Because you're going to bring in cold weather, corkboard. You stay up there. Yeah, Bunny, I think that's a heavy-duty country. You'll see. The guy is a rodeo-looking dude down in Texas and does some pretty cool videos. Got a heck of a Texas accent. Makes me want to move to Texas. So, yeah, I think that's it, Bunny. But, yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. Let's see here. What's Twitter? Donald Trump put out an hour ago the video I showed you a minute ago about the fracking answer. Yeah, Trump put that out. Oh, here's Biden trying to respond. Let me be clear. A Biden-Harris administration won't increase taxes by a dime on anyone making less than $400K a year. Liar. There's video out there you can look up where he says he will repeal all the Trump tax breaks. If he repeals them all, it means everybody's taxes are going up. James Wood said Joe Biden is on video saying he will end fracking completely. Exactly. Follow James Woods on Twitter, guys, if you already don't. Ilhan Omar. This man doesn't know how to answer a single question. The moderator keeps thanking him for it. No, the moderator kept interrupting him, but letting Kamala finish. Kimberly Guilfoyle. This debate is absolutely devastating for the Harris-Biden ticket. Agreed. Brandon Tatum. There's another channel you guys should follow. Look up Officer Tatum. Look up that channel. He said Kamala is flustered. Yes. And by the way, I follow lefties and righties. Once again, you got to know both sides. You got to know the crazy. Look at the crazy to know it. Let me refresh and see what we got here. Let's see. Oh, Bill Maher. Why was Kamala taking notes on the instructions? Sounds like Bill Maher is even kind of nailing on Kamala. Oh, not good. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says fracking is bad. Oh, boy. Yeah. Trump. Kamala Harris is one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA, putting a radical environmental agenda against American jobs. Yes. Oh, here's a guy. I know I'm not showing you. Sorry. This guy, Stonewall Jackson at 1776 Stonewall, says, who is this moderator? Chris Wallace's sister? Oh, my Lord. This lady, Maya Watson, listen to the amount of mind Olympics Kamala has to do not to come across as angry, emotional, combative, but also be a firm, warm, honest, direct. All while this MFer is straight up lying and gaslighting her. Oh, she doesn't like Pence. Oh, she says Pence is being lying. What? Greg Gutfeld. Last one I'll read, guys. I'll get back to you. Sorry. Greg Gutfeld. You can't not allow for a rebuttal when a person's claims or when personal claims are made that are about your moral character. You see what's happening? This is what happened in the first debate. It's bullshit. Yes. Agreed. Agreed. Cory Booker. You guys got to go look at some of the tweets. Oh, my Lord. You can just spend time. Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo says president doesn't give a damn about our military. You lying turd. Ooh, Alyssa Milano. Oh, God, guys. This is killing me. Uh-oh, what are you watching? Sean Hannity? Okay. Yeah, guys, I think I'm going to get out of here. Yeah, be careful on Facebook, guys. Facebook is openly admitting they're going to start removing people. Anybody they disagree with illegally, they're fact-checking, which making stuff up. Watch out for Facebook. Facebook is even worse than YouTube right now, which I'm sure this stream will probably get me in trouble, but I don't give a rat's butt. So, yeah. It's not my other channel, YouTube. Leave me alone. But, yeah, guys, I am going to get out of here. Thanks for hanging out. If you got some, check out James Woods on Twitter. Check out Greg Gutfeld. Check out the Officer Tatum. Check out some of these people. And keep the faith. And remember, get out and vote. Tell everybody get out and vote. In person, not by mail, because those get lost. They've been finding those things for Trump because people throwing them away. But have a good one, guys. Thank you very much. I will try to maybe do some more live streams where we discuss just one topic here and there coming up. It's hard for me to make more videos because of my health and time. But I'm going to try to do more live streams. I'll try to let you know. Do follow me on the Potato News Network, also on Twitter. And I do have Potato News Network 20 at gmail.com if you want to suggest anything. Buckle Bunny, Corkboard, Fire Sarge, Jim Patterson. The salt must flow, my friends. Let's see. Fire Sarge, Robert. Don. Bunny, I already talked to Jay Watterson. Jay Watterson, you threw out some great ones tonight, Jay. Wow, I'm telling you, you were spot on a lot of them, and rich discoveries. Guys, you guys are dead on, and I borrowed that from Salty Cracker. Because, man, I'll tell you what, he's good. But, yeah, get out there and vote, guys. Talk to your friends. And if you got family and friends that are thinking Biden, don't push, don't be nasty. Just see if you can get through, unlike my family, and show them full videos and facts. Other than that, we do it again. Jay? You are a rough one, Jay. Oh, you are a rough one. I like it. All right, guys. And remember, it sounds like Joker's Nation and Fire Sarge are going to be doing a stream on Friday. And that can get frisky, too. I'm going to send Fire Sarge maybe 2 or 3 of my energy drinks. Oh, yeah, Bunny. I got my windows open right now, but the smoke hasn't been bad today. But I may have to close them again. I just had to get my furnace checked today. Yay. Thankfully, it's all good and not going to kill me. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Head over and check out Sean Hannity or whoever you like. Keep the faith and remember to vote. And I really believe the silent majority is huge. Don't believe the same polls, Jim, that told us that Hillary was ahead by 18 to 23 points in the last election. And before Rich starts counting how many times I said goodnight, have a good night, everybody. Please leave a thumbs up. Please share out the channel and the streams. Any topics you want me to cover, please contact me on Twitter or Gmail. Talk to you guys later. Links are in the channel header, by the way, in case you need to know. See y'all.